Hello, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you're watching from. This is the Ghana Agenda, and today is January 24th, and this is our fourth show. Today we have a lot table for discussion, and I have my girls now joining. I'm going to go back, check on my guests to make sure everybody's in studio. But we would be talking about Today we'll be talking about the president's formation of government or the president's nomination. So the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, has so far released a list of ministers that he's nominating for his next government. So we'll be talking about that. We'll look at even the individuals who are being nominated. We will go beyond just the individual to see some of the reshuffles that are currently ongoing in terms of the nominations that the president came out with. Now, we are also going to look at the courts. We're going to the court to look at the petition and some of the things that, or the applications that were debated over the last week. And going forward, whether the court will resume and talk about the case itself or the state proceedings until a review, which has been asked by Chachu Chikata is approved for the petitioner. So there is a lot we table. We're also looking at the president's 22nd address to the nation about coronavirus. So let me check studio to see if all my guests are in studio. When I get back, we will jump into the show.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka Ya Bantam. And me di feel a bozzing pan and to see one bridge with your money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions as a sutra credit Emma Ebusuya Fonia and the form one Ghana. And one is a ubako www.ghanamat.com. And they would say boy a sharp connection www.ghanamat.com. Let's provisions in the credit. Na really angazankasa. I have friend numbers na screen aseno. Ghana Matia Crano.
All right, so my guests are trickling in, and thanks for joining. Tell a friend to tell a friend that Ghana Agenda is on. Today, I will be talking to Mr. Marafa. I keep calling him Mr. and this guy is actually a PhD holder. So we'll be talking to Dr. Erasmus Atajenfi. He will join us. He's actually a comptroller currently working for JP Morgan. Dr. Atajenfi would be also speaking maybe on issues or maybe supporting MPP or coming from the MPP camp. But of course, he's a Ghanaian first. So this show, like we said, we make sure that our conversations are more country-centered, that we are Ghanaians first and politicians second. So he will be joining us. Mr. Efa Ameya, who was with us last week, would also be joining us this week. Mr. Efa is a spokesperson for the MPP from the Chicago area. We would be joined again by Paul Disosu. Paul Disosu represents the NDC, and he's from Massachusetts. And then we would bring in Dr. Ofori Edward, who is one of our family members, or one of the ACO presenters, would also be joining us and will be helping us understand what the president said in his 22nd address on COVID to the nation. So without much ado, I'm going to start bringing my guests in one at a time, and I'll be introducing them. So let's start with Dr. Ofori. Dr. Ofori, I'll put you on the spot. I'm introducing you as my first guest, and you would be helping me talk through COVID. But also, I think Dr. Erasmus. I'm going to put Dr. Erasmus on the spot. So, Dr. Erasmus, thanks for joining us as well. You are the second host for the show today, and you will be helping us analyze some of the economic issues. So, Dr. Ofori, you are not a stranger to the show, but at the same time, I still want you to introduce yourself and tell my guests about your show, where they can catch it, and what times you come on, and that so they can watch your show as well.
Awesome. So we do health and wellness show every Wednesday evening. Now we're thinking about moving it to every Sunday morning. We pretty much educate people about health. In particular, at this point, we're looking at COVID-19 and what it's doing to our Ghanaian community, and what is really going on with vaccines and drugs and treatments. So yes, every Wednesday we do that show, which is health and wellness on Akko Radio station. So I want everybody to tune in during that time for all the information that they need about health.
All right, all right. Thanks for that introduction, Dr. Erasmus Atajenfi. You have also been on this show before. I think it was just about a week ago, and at the time you were traveling, so you didn't stay with us throughout the entire program. But if you can tell us a little bit about yourself as well, and where people can reach you, if you really, I think you told me in the background that you're a CPA accountant, that you help with taxes, business advices on the side. So you can tell us about that and where people can find you.
So thank you very much for having me on the show again. My name is Dr. Erasmus Alajenfi. I'm a CPA. I have a practice in Columbus, Ohio. I've been here before. It was nice. I was traveling. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. You can find me in Columbus, Ohio. If you have any financial tax advice that you need, bookkeeping, accounting, tax work. I'm also a professor at Roosevelt University. I teach accounting and finance. So I'm all up there. If you have any accounting, tax, or finance issues, finance thoughts that you want to pick, for sure, I'm available. So, thank you.
All right, Dr. Erasmus. Thanks for that introduction. And he's a professor in accounting, so all accounting questions. If you really need somebody to help you understand, he is the man to go to. Okay, so Dr. Ofori, we're gonna start because I know you may not stay with us throughout the entire program. Right. If you will, that would be great. But what I would do is let's take COVID first. I want to go to what the president said in his speech when he addressed the nation about the progress his government is making so far as COVID is concerned in Ghana. And then after that speech, we'll jump into the discussion so you can help us understand what the president is saying. Okay.
Fellow Ghanaians, good evening. I'm coming into your homes tonight with some rather unpleasant news. When I delivered update number 21 some 2 weeks ago, I urged all of us to continue adhering to the enhanced hygiene and mask wearing protocols that have served us well and which led us to the situation where we were witnessing a gradual decline in the number of active cases. However, since that time, we have seen an upsurge in the number of active cases, from a little over 900 to 1,924. Our COVID-19 treatment centers have gone from having 0 patients to now being 4 because of the upsurge in infections. Particularly worrying is the fact that the Ghana Health Service is recording on the average 200 new cases of COVID infections daily. The number of patients requiring hospitalization and intensive care is rising. The number of confirmed deaths has increased sadly from 338 persons to 352 within the period. Recent genomic sequencing undertaken by our scientists have established that some arriving passengers tested positive for new variants of COVID. I've instructed the Inspector General of Police to direct officers, men and women of the police service, to ensure the rigorous enforcement of the law on mask wearing at all public places and in public transport. They're also to ensure the closure of all nightclubs, pubs, cinemas, and beaches that may be operating in defiance of the law.
All right, welcome back to Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfredo Muzu, and we've just listened to the president provided his update and the fact that he's instructed the security services to enforce the laws we have on our books as far as putting a face shield or face mask is concerned. Let's bring Dr. Ofori in. Dr. Ofori.
Yes.
So, can you help me and my listeners understand the state of COVID in Ghana?
Yes. So the state of COVID, and I'm going to share this with anybody who is listening to us on Facebook.
Okay.
You will see this is the dashboard for the Ghana Health Service, right?
Yeah.
It shows you the areas in Ghana that you have a lot of cases. You can see that Greater Accra and some Ashanti region shows the highest number of cases. The number of deaths or active cases has risen, tremendously, significantly from the past maybe 2 months. Okay. And one thing that you realize is that, let me go back to some of the data that has been, forthcoming all these times, like before, let's say, the Christmas break. If you see closely here, I don't know, those of you who are watching on Facebook, you'll see how we were up during the periods of like August, July there, right? And then it was flat, and then all of a sudden you see that we're peaking over here, right? So this goes to tell us that there was something very particular going on during that period where cases were not, either we stopped testing or we were slow on recording our cases, and the thing was spreading in the community. So community spread has played a major role when it comes to the COVID cases that we're seeing now. One thing with infections is that you can play it down. You can say all you want. We see that in the US. It will show up in cases and hospitalization. And basically, from what we are hearing, our capacity to handle hospitalizations and people that will need oxygen and some kind of intubation and things like that, we don't have that much capacity. Even if we were to bring all the health workers to engage the number of cases we're going to have in the next few weeks, it is concerning. And you can tell from the president's voice that there is a lot to be done in Ghana. And it's because we're reacting now. Instead of us to take proactive decisions before, we kind of, put it under the rug a little bit. And now it's catching up to us. So the numbers you're seeing, 200 cases every day, is not surprising to me. We are having a new strain coming into our system. The new strain we know is about 60 or 70% more transmissible, meaning it's not going to even help us controlling the infection. And we're not anywhere close to even getting vaccines at this point. So all those who are watching this show right now, I'm just pleading, especially with Ghanaians, that we are very vulnerable. Our health system cannot support it. We don't have vaccines to combat this infection. The only thing we have is that mask that a lot of people need to wear. So yes, if you ask me about the current state, it's not the best of states, and you can hear it clearly from the president's voice. I think you're muted.
Hey, yeah, I was saying I couldn't help but notice that when you were showing us the graph, you show a point where it sounded like we were stable.
Yes.
But are you saying that is intentional, and that is because, somehow we were not reporting the accurate data, or we were not testing, or we stopped testing? What is the cause of that stabilized period that you showed?
Yeah, so it's multifactorial. There's so many factors that goes into that plateau that we saw. especially when it comes to death. One thing that we see in Ghana, and this is some kind of a trend, is that people are looking at the disease as a bimodal function. It's either you are alive or you're dead.
Right.
So because of that, people were not seeing the deaths. Even the numbers were low, right?
Right.
What people are explaining that, or some people think that is because of the average age of Ghanaians. Right. And also the fact that there wasn't that much cases at that point. But when it was getting to election time, there was a lot of congregation. There was a lot of people coming together during Christmas.
Right.
The bars and the spots were open, and we know that whenever these things are done, we have exponential jump in number of cases.
Right.
And it so happens that now we're seeing more hospitalization, which is a trend we've seen across the world, even especially in the United States. Whenever there's a holiday, a public holiday, or anything like that, and people congregate, the next 2 weeks, you see an exponential increase in the number of COVID cases. So yes, we saw that dip in number of cases reported because number of testing, from what we're hearing, we didn't have a corresponding increase in number of testing, even though people were aggregating, including the Parliament House and all these other things that you guys are going to talk about on your political show. But it's just a clarion call that we are sending out there that, hey, it's real. COVID is real. Now people are, getting worried because prominent people are dying in Ghana from COVID.
Right.
And the numbers keep going up, and our hospitalization or numbers also going up. But our capability to handle this comes no close. If you start getting 1,000 cases a day, I think we are screwed.
Right.
Because now we have 200 cases a day, and our facilities are full.
Right.
So I understand what we are headed for, which is not looking good. But we need to be aware. There has to be more. I would say, like, not like publicizing, so that people will know about these things. Let the media take the mic from the politicians, and give it to the people that actually know what they're saying. And I think that will go a long way to help us in combating this.
You mean let's do more education, let the media actually get involved. I want to bring everybody else in so they can opine on, or they can give their opinions on this topic. But I also want to go to the street and play a video from the market where the media actually went around and did some talking to the people, and there was something interesting here I wanted you to look at, and then we'll talk about it when we get to the other side.
When is it?
Let's go for it. No, I don't make it. Yeah, you're here for 18 years. I don't know to Yari emekoni abobi. Yari fried rice. Yari akoko. Yari shi. Nti yari. Inkruma mi na mi wele. Akota mama ni kawa. Mi na maka mi begwe. Mi do bi ani case.
Yari fona. Yari na ba mo.
Sika fuaru. What is that? Obi ton ade amadi na makeye ti yari na chinida. Ana obi we krasi oye ni ko bi ni ko tombre yare na chin what bi wo hoda nkra ko penyi fuodo na yare ti yeye teri ya mi say di itiro yare no ba ya opo yare ka po suro.
Interesting. So here is where I don't get it. That people still think this disease is not for everybody. That is just for the rich people. From what we just listened to the lady said in Tree, do you get that as one of the reasons why we are not able to control, or we are finding now? Let me rephrase. Do you think this may be one of the reasons why we are seeing increases in the numbers because of the way the ordinary person is treating the disease, or the type of education that has gotten to the street level?
I absolutely agree that the citizen has a responsibility when it comes to self, awareness about the disease. But we also have to increase the awareness by increasing media presence, right? Let people know that this is really happening. Let people who have recovered from the disease come out and be like advocates for the fact that the thing actually exists. Some of us who are in the Western world should tell our people back home that the disease is actually ravaging and taking a lot of lives in the United States and other countries such as the UK. So I think, yes, you're right. People think it doesn't exist, and the narrative is going to change when they see that people are actually dying. It's the same thing with HIV. When HIV hit Africa, people said it was the white man's disease, and that is not an African disease. Until we saw that people that we knew were actually got a disease, and the scene wasn't good, right? But we don't want that to happen because this is a respiratory infection. If it were to hit Africa and a lot of us contracted, we don't have a healthcare system that is going to take care of it. And we're going to see a lot of deaths. But at this point, it hasn't gone too far. Maybe it has, because there was a seroprevalence study that was done in Accra that showed that about 20% of the people were actually exposed to the infection. If you extrapolate, that's a lot of people in Ghana, right? 20% of 30 million people. That's a lot of people. And there's a community spread. People are not wearing their mask. Even when they wear it, they don't wear it properly. So yes, education is key, but people listen to, you see, she brought something in there, which I really, I must acknowledge that she added God and religion, right? That they will pray that the disease, they don't get sick. So we implore our leaders, we implore our church leaders as well. We know how religion plays a major role in Ghana when it comes to how people believe in things. We implore them to tell the truth that it's actually a disease. It's not anything bad. It's not a white man's disease. It's not a rich. It's not only for the rich. The reason why it's a lot in Accra because Accra is populated, highly populated, and there's a lot of partying going on in these places, and I can assume that there's so much spread over there, right? They do a lot of testing at Kotoka, but it doesn't account for all those cases that we're seeing right now. So if you ask me, that's what I would say about the individual responsibility and how COVID is spreading in Ghana.
So yeah, let's bring the other panelists into this discussion. Dr. Atajefi, are you still with us? And Mr. Efa Mayo, are you? Paul DeSoso, are you guys still all with us? Okay, so I wanted to ask them a question about it, but as we wait for them to reappear, because I don't see them in my studio, but as we wait for them to reappear, Dr. Foreign, the president acknowledged that the new variant, and I don't know which one he's actually talking about. He just mentioned that the new variant has been, detected.
Yes,
in the country. Can you tell us briefly about that? And the reason I'm asking is, people are getting tested. You have to actually have a test done in 72 hours before you board any flight to Accra.
right.
Then when you get to Accra, you get tested again. How is it that we are still having coronavirus, even in the new variant, into our country?
Right. So, you can actually have so they're supposed to have a PCR test 72 hours before. Now, if you did a PCR test, yes, it will detect whether you have it or not, right? So if let's say you're negative, the only way you go on the plane is if you're negative, right? Now you get on this plane, everybody is supposedly have that tested. Within that 72 hours, somebody could get exposed, right? When they get exposed, they're coming from UK, where almost certain areas is 60% of the cases are the new variant from the UK. Within that 72 hours, they could potentially have that virus in them. They will get to Kotoka. They're not going to have a PCR test. They're going to have an antigen test, which might not be able to pick this new variant. And we could potentially have that in circulation. Or they could randomly pick samples, and that's how come they're able to detect that somebody actually has a new variant at Kotoka, right? So it's possible. It can happen. It's not something that I wouldn't be surprised if we do have the new variant already in Ghana.
Right.
So what does it mean? It means that we need to ramp up our we don't have the vaccine, pretty much, right? We don't have the treatment. So what can we do? We need to help ramp up the education piece.
Right.
All efforts should be geared towards conscientizing people that, hey, the disease is actually there. I know they're putting the police and law enforcement on the streets, which is so ironic because they pull all these people and put all of them together in a bus. Right. And I just shake my head because you basically just defined the laws of social distancing.
Right.
So yes, it's possible to have that variant in Ghana, which spreads even more quicker, which means that we are up against a very tough opponent in this case.
Okay, great. Okay, let me bring in Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, you are on the NDC side, and I know the NDC also has a COVID team that they've assembled. Now, I haven't heard anything so far from the team. I think I'm getting some echo back. Mr. Paul, are you with us? Okay, if Mr. Paul is not ready, let's bring in Dr. Erasmus. Dr. Erasmus, what do you think about how the government is managing COVID? Because, what we are hearing is not encouraging at all. At one point, it almost appears as though everything is under control, just for us to turn around and now have the cases be, being on the increase. What is your assessment of the government's performance on COVID so far?
I feel like we are not reporting the numbers accurately.
Okay.
I think the government is angry. The only problem is with the reporting. Now, healthcare statistics, public health statistics is not really a government issue. It's devoid of government. Like in the US, public health statistics cannot be influenced by government, but of course we're talking Ghana. So potentially, if they have any type of influence, then I will be shocked. But the government is really relying on the public health statistics as we speak. So the government is saying, this is what we're seeing from public health agencies, and this is what we are reporting. So potentially they are right, but personally, I feel like public health is not doing a great job. And you could also argue that government needs to resource public health to do their job accurately. It's all like, a snowballing effect to the point where you can say all you want to say, but government has to rely on public health to give them the numbers, and public health is giving government. So whatever government is saying is potentially what public health is reporting to, but especially in Ghana, and I feel like the numbers are not really adequate as to what they're supposed to be.
Reported, or they're not reporting the correct numbers, and so we may not even know the extent of the spread, so to say. Let me bring in Effa. Effa, what is your assessment of how the government is reporting on COVID? We know that of course that the government is who appoints the Minister of Health. The entire healthcare system is funded through the ministry. How do you decouple the government's performance from the ministry? Effa, we can hear you. I think you may be on mute.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to be on your show again. COVID is with us. When we done in this argument of the numbers are not the real numbers, we've been saying this since COVID hit. Why don't we deal with the numbers as has been given to us? Even that one, we have a challenge dealing with it. So if the numbers that are coming in are still scary, and we say government is not, there's a channel through which this reporting is done. it is not a case that, oh, today there is immediately the lab test is positive, then there is somebody, no, there is a chain, that it passes through. So maybe people at the hospital or people at the labs may be having the numbers, but it has to pass through a channel before government will officially report, or Ministry of Health would officially report. So that is the channel we have. Let's use it. If it is not good, let's improve upon it going forward. Now let's deal with the numbers that are coming in, because under reporting or what the numbers are scary.
Right.
We before the elections, all of us were in the know that we had brought COVID under control. Then all of a sudden, this is what we haven't, with new variant being, they're telling us that it's even more potent than.
Now that whole assessment that we brought COVID under control during the election, do you think this is just done purposely to mislead?
I mean, you are entitled to
the politician has to go and around the country for the campaigns, but within that period, they acted as though COVID, has affected.
I don't really think that it was then the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Medical Association and the Ministry of Health have been very vocal, and they were not ready to play with anything. It was because at that time we didn't have the numbers. Now, the numbers that we had before the elections, right? We shouldn't have slacked on whatever we were doing that we're bringing. That is where I would say we did something that we shouldn't, because if they were testing and they were not getting anything, and people were recovering and stuff like that, of course, and certain things will go down, like people that are going on contact tracing and stuff like that will go down. But then all of a sudden there's an upsurge. So I think we just let us deal with the upsurge, and knowing what our health system is, the fact that these new numbers that are coming up, they are, in fact, it calls for a greater concern. And I don't know what the advice will be as far as going forward is concerned. But in the meantime, what I would say, I mean, I think the doctors are also here. They can give us a better solution option. That there is still, if you listen to the video on what that woman said, it's not only her. There's a lot of people that believe in the fact that this is someone else's whatever. I don't have it. And for it is not only Ghana or Africa. Globally, some people still think that no, because they've not experienced it. So we have to do more as far as enforcement is concerned. I don't really subscribe to the current enforcement where they go arrest people and put them in a condition where even if they don't have it, they might end up having it. The way, it looks as if there's a panic button that has been pressed, and the police need to also observe social distancing when they arrest people. You go out there and arrest somebody that is not having a mask. It is not only the issue of the mask. The issue is social distancing, where you put these people, the likelihood of them not getting it. So that is a very important aspect of the way we're handling it that we need to. I think
so. Let me bring in Disosu as well, so that he could also make his point on COVID. But then, of course, we want to transition quickly to our main topics for the day. Mr. Disosu, I know you are NDC and you are going to say that the government is at fault. You are going to throw everything at them. But your party, during this election period, also went about as though COVID did not exist. So it's not only that the government did not do what the government needed to do, but even the opposition, who, of course, was contesting to lead us, didn't really act responsibly during this time. What would you say to them?
Thank you very much, Alfred. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Look, let's face the reality. This super incompetent government, the MPP government, played with this virus right from day one. And I think my friend Ameyao and Dr. Efriye, is it Dr. Efriye? They should admit to the fact.
You mean Dr. Ofori?
They failed right from day one. And they should stop throwing dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana. There's a saying that when you lie, you continue to lie and continue to lie. Look, this super incompetent government were massaging figures prior to the registration, prior after the registration, and then during the election time, they were still massaging figures. They were not reporting the actual and the truth figures on the ground. So what do you expect the ordinary citizens to do? If the president comes to sit on a national television telling us that we are on top of the issues are under control, what do you expect those people down there to do? Are they now crying? I don't want to play politics with this, but let's face the reality. This super incompetent government lied. They were not giving Ghanaians the true figures. And I still even believe that as we speak, the figures that they are putting out there, they are not the true figures. They are hiding some of the figures. Now, let's move on. They should admit that they failed in the fight of COVID. COVID does not know an NDC member, either does it know an MPP member. If this virus gets you, our health system is not in a good shape that we're able to contain people. As we speak, we have about 150 ICU beds in the whole country. Now, we are having over 200 cases in a day.
Okay.
People are struggling even to get a place to admit patients who have this virus. The MPP government should sit up. They should stop playing politics, propaganda, and mischief with this dangerous disease. And let's face the reality. Let's speak truth to the good people of Ghana. Let them know that, look, the disease has gotten out of hand.
But Mr. Paul, during the campaign, your party had the opportunity to speak truth to the people of Ghana, but they didn't do that. You went about your campaign as though COVID didn't exist.
Alfred, I'm going to come there.
Well, I want you to...
I'm going to come there. I'm going to address that.
Okay.
Look, the steering affair of the country is in the hands of the MPP government and Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. They should have set good example. If Nana Addo had stated or put a law that there should not be any campaigns whatsoever, including himself, he will not go around to have any campaign. Do you think the opposition will not abide by the rules and regulations that he will put there? He did this because of his personal gain and his selfish gain. Still want to hold on to power. That is why he pretend as if nothing's happened. He came to lie to the good people of Ghana, telling us that the numbers have gone down. So people should be, people can go about doing anything. Look, let me tell you one thing I observed. When I was in Ghana, okay? Anytime I go out, I use my mask. A lot of people are not putting on masks. And when you ask them, they'll tell you, the sickness is not around. The politicians are all over, campaigning and all this stuff. And they are not getting the virus. So what do you think? What makes you to think that the sickness is around? And anytime I go into people and I have my mask on, they seem to be strange person among them. So I am saying that the MPP government is the cause of this. They didn't handle this thing right from day one. They didn't handle it well. They were playing propaganda with this dangerous disease because of their interest in election. And now the disease has gone out of hand. We expect the president to come out. The president is helpless. He should come out and then call the opposition. Let's get all the best brains we have in the country. Let them sit down on the table. Let's look at the way we can find a solution to this disease. Because I will not be happy to see it, overwhelming the good people of Ghana, just like it's happening in this country. So the people should admit the fact that they failed. They lied to the good people of Ghana. They should stop the mischief, the propaganda, and then we can move forward.
Okay, great. Thanks for that submission, even though I wanted you to address the NDC part, which you didn't, but perhaps you can come in later on and talk through that. But once we still have Dr. Ofori here, and I know he will be leaving us shortly. We've already spent some significant amount of time on this topic, but I want to ask Dr. Ofori that if you listen to the whole the president's speech, which I didn't play, I didn't have the opportunity to play all of it. He also announced that schools should reopen. So I'm not sure how that is going to happen. I'm not sure how they are going to manage situation in which schools are open, at the same time that we are seeing the numbers skyrocket. What is the expectation? I mean, do we have enough protection for our kids so that when they come home, they will not infect their parents and have this disease go out of control?
Yeah, so what I would say is that that's going to be very challenging to have kids obeying these protocols and procedures. What will happen is that the kids will go to school and they will catch the virus and bring it to their elderly parents, who will eventually have severe case and might be hospitalized. So usually opening up an economy or opening up a place is informed by data. All the panelists here admit that the data, one way or the other, was either underrepresented or some kind of wasn't reported at a timely manner. Right. And that is why we find ourselves in this predicament at this point. So based on these things I've stated, it makes no sense that we might want to open schools at this point because our numbers are actually going up. Right. Maybe at the time that we were convinced that Ghana was doing very well nationally, recognized internationally, that was a time to have open school for students that wasn't an issue, but we didn't do that. So now we are having an uptick. Right. As you can see in the data that I showed from even Ghana Health Services website, we are having actually an uptick in numbers. Right. So it becomes very challenging. I think probably we might head towards another point where we're going to have so many deaths that we will start thinking about even shutting down certain parts of the country in order to have the effect that we want to see. So yes, we've gone in the wrong direction when it comes to testing and managing this COVID, no doubt about it. I am apolitical. I'm not going for NDC or MPP because, like you said, the virus doesn't know whether you're NDC or you're MPP, and it doesn't care. It actually is killing everyone. So in a way, let's depoliticize it and look at things that will actually work logistically, because Ghana economy, you can't shut it down. I know for sure. Right. We tried that before, it didn't work out. So we might have to handle it by increasing education, awareness on our TV stations, programs like this, programs like what we have at Akko Radio, to tell people more about what is really going on there. Let the health workers, the doctors come out and talk. In the US, when it was politicized, you see, we are still leading the number of deaths because this is not a political issue. It's a health, it's a public health issue. Right. And we should handle it as such.
Okay. There is a comment I wanted to read for you and see if you can help us answer that comment before we let you go. But if you still want to hang around, Dr. Ofori, hang around and participate in our discussion.
Yeah, I'll be listening and I have to go somewhere, but I'll be listening in.
Okay, great. So let's take this comment from Mr. Thomas Asena. Mr. Thomas is saying, hi, Mr. Muzu and your team for your regular education to us. My friend went to Ghana last week and he was quarantined for a week. Though he tested negative upon arrival at Kotoka, is Ghana back to mandatory quarantine? If not, why was he quarantined? Would you know why he may have been quarantined?
I have no idea why he would be quarantined, because he had, before he even board the plane to go to Ghana, right. You're supposed to have the PCR test, right?
Yeah.
There's been, some few instances where people are forging or, kind of doctoring some reports, but majority of people will have to present a PCR test before you actually board the plane. So if he's negative and you go there, they take, maybe there's some random sampling that you're doing to see if they can pick, the new variants and things like that, because you have to actually sequence the genome of whatever, or the sample that you detect. If it's negative, there's no way you have to be quarantined in that sense. So I don't know the reason, honestly.
Okay, great. Steve wants me to say, great intro, Dr. Ofori. Steve, thanks for watching us. Steve is one of our hosts. He and I host a show on Mondays called Steve and Alfred Show. Very interesting. We focus on issues affecting the minority community, Black community, African American community, Africans in the United States. So that's a really great show. It starts at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you are Available to watch on Monday. That is the show to watch. Steve also says, great show. Okay, thanks, Steve, for watching. I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, we will talk about the nominations that the president has circulated for Parliament to vet. Dr. Ofori, I wanted to take the opportunity to say a big thank you. I know you're going to hang around and watch us, but we are grateful for you stopping by today to educate us and to always assist us anytime we need you. Thanks for coming, Dr. Ofori. If you have some last words you want to leave for my viewers before.
I think, yes, I do have some last words. I will say that the disease is real. If you don't believe it, some people are dying from it. Actually, US, a lot of people are dying. So make sure that you wear your mask, because it actually guarantees it's even better than the vaccine because it's a guarantee that is shown that it actually prevents the spread of the virus. But Ghana, things are a little bit, even in the US, it's kind of hard to enforce these rules. So I can imagine how hard it would be. So we got to work 1,000 times harder in educating people and letting them know that the disease actually exists. So thank you, and to all your viewers.
Thank you so much for coming and helping with that education, and we will bring you back again anytime we have to discuss this topic. Thanks for joining us.
Your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka yeah, Bantam. And me di feel a boozing pan and to see one roach with your money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions as I sutra credit Emma Ebusuya phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a ubako www.ghanamat.com. And them would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in credit na really ankasa. I have friend numbers na screen na Ghana Mat ye krano.
All right, welcome back to Ghana Agenda again. We are grateful for Dr. Ofori for stopping by and giving us some really good education on COVID in Ghana and what is being done and how the numbers are not being properly reported, in fact. And he also talked about the school opening and how that may not have been a good idea. And that's, his advice is we focused on the logistics. And he also says COVID is real, that we should keep our masks on, vaccines are not yet ready. So we want to say a big thank you to Dr. Ofori for stopping by. Now, let's switch to, the main topic for the day, which is the ministerial appointments by the president, the appointments that's the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, have made for his second term. Okay, so with that, I'm going to bring my panel back. I have Paul Disosu, who is a communication consultant. He's a communication expert. He'll be helping us with that. When I say communication, it means information technology and communication analyst. He's out of Massachusetts. He's as General Secretary of the MPP chapter in Massachusetts. I may get that wrong, but he would explain to us what that position is when he get opportunity to. I also happen to have with me the spokesperson for the MPP in the Chicago chapter of MPP, and he's also the Deputy Communication Director of the party in the United States here. He is no other than Mr. Efa Amayao. He was with us last week, and you can assess him by how eloquent and commanding he is on the issues. I'm happy to have him here again. We also have Dr. Erasmus Atajenfi, a comptroller who works with JP Morgan, also with us today. And he will also be helping us understand some of the capabilities, abilities, achievements, and experiences of some of these parliamentarians that have been forwarded for vetting for positions in Akufo-Addo's next government. So, let me start by saying in 2016, the president Nana Akufo-Addo nominated 110 ministers. That number was revised in 2019 to 126. The previous government, which was the government of John Dramani Mahama, had 88 ministers. And Addo initially nominated 110. Then, after creating the 6 regions, OT, Bono, and you know the rest, he increased that number to 126 ministers. As of today, we've been told that Eugene Ahini, stated, who is one of the assistants to the president, mentioned that the president intends to nominate or intends to put in place only 85 ministers this time around, which is a drastic reduction in the number he had before, which is 126. So we are going to interrogate all this, if we should be commending the president for reducing the number, if the number is actually optimal, or if that number should even go down lower, according to my guess and what they think the appropriate number of ministers should be. So without much we do, let me go first to Mr. Rasmus. Are you still there with us? Maybe his camera is not working, but let me go to Efa. Oh, Mr. Rasmus is there with us. Okay, let me bring him in. Mr. Rasmus. So I think your lighting may be a little low, so if you can turn the lights back on or something like that. But while you do that, let me go to Mr. Efa. Mr. Efa, your president, our president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has nominated, a few members of parliament to specific ministerial positions. You've seen the list circulating around. I think we've seen about 30 names so far, in addition to regional ministers. What is your general assessment so far, taking into consideration the number he had before and all the things we are hearing about how he intends to only nominate 85 ministers this time around?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Host. Yes. So the getting to the end of 2020, we had 126 ministers, and that the president has indicated he's not going to deal with that number again. He's going to come down to 85. That is good. Now, government is by the people for the people, and so what that means is that we have to listen, and you have to do as the people wish, taking into consideration competence, delivery, and efficiency.
So are you saying he's reducing the number because the people wanted a lower number of ministers?
So that is one reason. The second reason is that most of these ministerial positions were created to do specific stuff, and having gone through the 4 years and having put certain things in place, it can't continue without them. So there's the need. And
like what? Like what? Give us some example of what specific ministries were created to do specific things, and where are we with those specific things? Are we done with them to where we need to no longer continue with those ministries? Is that what what specific ones are you referring to?
So we created the ministry to come up with the regions.
Right.
Yes. The president also realized that at this point going forward, we can do without aviation. The president has realized that at this point going forward, we've done a lot in terms of Zongo development, so we can do without Zongo development. So we can go on and on and on and on. But, you look at which area you can combine, which area are the pressing needs. They are the traditional ministries that you can't do anything about. They always have to be the education, defense, interior, security, and all that kind of stuff, health, and all those ones. So yes, so because one, there were a lot of complaints, and the president maintained it because at that time he saw the need for him to make sure that he puts the economy, he puts certain things in place, for Ghana to get into a certain level before you can dispose of all these ministries. And having won the Ghanaian mandate. Yes, why not do that, as a way of, telling them that, yes, I listened, and these are the areas I can cut, and these are the areas I'm going to keep. Now, when you look at the whole setup of what is happening, a lot were said in the last administration. And, you have to combine all into one piece and ask yourself that as a government, you have the mandate of the people. So what is it that you have to do, And again, as I say, not compromising efficiency, not compromising delivery. What is it that I can do to make sure that, government runs and everything is up in place and all that? So all these things came into effect, and you will agree with me that the number of ministers that have been assembled so far are the best out of the lot. Yes, people may have individual problems with one or two of them, but yes, these are some of the best we can take out of the lot that we have to ensure that they deliver in the various portfolios that they've been assigned, and to ensure that Ghanaians get the benefit for which they voted for the NPP. And surely, I believe that they're going to go through the nomination, they're going to go through the appointment committee, they're going to pass, and they're going to start delivering, and we're going to get a mandate delivered to the people of Ghana. In 2020, we win another election.
I see Mr. Paul laughing at, smiling this whole time. Mr. Paul, why are you smiling? Why, Epa is making his presentation? Is there something you were disagreeing with that, you want to share with us?
Before then, I think when you were introduced, did you said General Secretary of MPP? Is that what you said?
I gave you.
Yes, I heard that.
I'm not the General Secretary of MPP.
I heard that. Yeah,
I can never belong to MPP. MPP is a party
that's a prophecy that will happen. That's why I didn't comment.
MPP is sorry about that.
MPP is a party that when you give to me, if you give me $10 million, I will never join the MPP.
Okay, that's the point is made.
They're the most useless party ever.
No, don't say that.
Ghana. So let me put that to record straight. I'm the secretary. I can have a general secretary. We have only one general secretary in the NDC, and I'm the secretary for Massachusetts, state of Massachusetts. So my boss, Steve there, I think is on the line watching me, and I say hi to Steve there and the whole entire members in the US. I was laughing because my friend Amir knows very well that what he was saying, he was just throwing dust into the ears and into the eyes of your listeners this evening.
Okay.
I heard him talking about competence. I heard him talking about delivery. I heard him using phrases to describe the reason why the government listening to the president listening to the current listen to Ghanaians to reduce the number down to 85. I don't know whether even he's going to meet the 85. But let's set the record straight. The last administration, which is made up of the seventh administration of the Fourth Republic, okay, is the most useless, the most productive, the most useless, the most unproductive, and the most, aimless administration ever in the history of the Fourth Republic. Why am I saying so? The president appointed 126 ministers of state. When Ghanaians were talking about it, he told Ghanaians that there was a lot of work to be done. That is why he appointed a number of people. But if you and I will be truthful to ourselves this evening, if you and I will be truthful to ourselves this evening, you will understand that this is the most useless government performances we've ever seen. When you look at the growth rate as compared to the amount of money that this government received within the last 4 years, and you look at the developmental project, you could see that the most useless government we've ever seen. Alfred, let me give you a simple calculation. We have over 126 ministers of state, including deputy ministers. Let's assume the basic salary, including their housing, their security, everything is 18,000 per minister. When you multiply it by at least 40 that we're calling him to take off, you get 720,000 Ghana cedi a month. When you multiply it by a year, 12 months, you get 8.640 million Ghana cedi a year. And when you multiply by 4 years, it's 34,560,000 cedis. All those monies were being paid to these people without no work done.
Right.
You cannot see. What is it that my good friend Ameya can tell me that they've done, that they can boast their chest and say that they've done something for the good people of Ghana that they are proud of?
So Ameya, I was saying that certain ministries were, created for specific things. He mentioned the one for region creation or whatever they call it, right? Where, once the regions were created, the 6 regions were created, that ministry was no longer needed. So it has to be done without. So does he have a point in there from what, do you think he has a point in there?
He has no point. It was Muchendi government that they formed. Look, the regional integration ministry that they formed, that ministry could have been whatever the task that they did create the new region, the local government ministry should have done that job.
Yes. Okay.
You understand me? They just brought people there just for the boys, just wasted the taxpayers' money for nothing. And I can bet you, the current administration, of course, we are at court. So I don't still recognize Nanado as the president of the country until otherwise the court declared him. He's still a caretaker president. Look,
okay. On that note, I know this is just preliminary. We're gonna go into some of the details because I want us to take a look at some of the specific nominations, some of the people who have been nominated, so we can look at them and see, actually assess them on their performance in the previous previous term and how they will perform going forward, and whether by appointment of some key people, the president is signaling a certain way that he's going to govern. So I want us to do all that, but I want to bring in Dr.
Let me just make a statement. Let me just make this statement and I leave the Look, Mr. Amuzu, all those 126 ministers that were appointed, none of them better. All of them underperformed. And Ameya and my good friend Dr. Ifa, they know very well. They want to be truthful. None of them did any good thing. That is why Ghana economy, it's where it is. They are reporting figures, different figures to the Parliament of Ghana. And when they go to the IMF, they send different figures. They are doing this, playing propaganda with the economy. And there's a saying that when you play propaganda with the economy, there's a time that your economy will be under ICU. And now Ghana's economy is under ICU, under this super incompetent government. They are just going to bring this new minister that they've brought. It's recycle of the old ones. I don't see anything that better that will come out of it. Maybe they've brought some new faces. I cannot assess those people, but most of the people that have been appointed, they were part of the former administration. I don't know what they did. If I can put them, he should give me a name. I will tell them the things that they did that I don't expect them to be appointed as ministers of state.
So we're going to look at some of them. We wouldn't look at all 30, but we are looking at some of the individual ministers that have been names that have been put out.
To what he said?
Yeah, you will have the opportunity to, but I want to bring in our other panelists so that we can get the conversation going.
But
so,
Mr. Abisu, you are not being fair to me. You have 2 MPP guys, and I'm alone here with them. You are not being fair to me.
Don't worry, I'll give you time to respond to each of them when.
There are 2 MPP guys here.
Yeah,
well, I don't know.
Guys.
Actually, Erasmus is here in his own capacity. He's not here representing the party.
I had a program with Mr. Ifa, Dr. Ifa, who spoke for the MPP. He is an MPP member and he's a part of the MPP. So he is speaking for the MPP. So let's set the record straight.
No. I'm saying that Mr. Efa Ameya, he is the MPP spokesperson, but
exactly.
Dr. Erasmus Atajemfi, even though he associates with the MPP, he's not representing. He's not on the show.
Because he's going to be biased. He's going to be biased over here. He's going to sit over there. But I can manage the two of them. They are not. I can manage the two of them. I'm okay with the two of them.
Okay, no problem. So let's go to.
Okay, why they complain? It's Sembeni.
Let's go to Dr. Jemfi. Dr. Jemfi, the president, did not listen when we complained about 126 ministers for the last 4 years. All of a sudden, even though he hasn't come out to officially make any comment about the number of ministers he'll be appointing, there are, communications out there from his government, people from his government, well-known people from his government, indicating that he would be putting forward 85 names for consideration this time around. Do you think the president is doing this because he's listened? Do you think he's doing it because some of the 126 ministries that he had before are no longer needed because they've accomplished the purpose for which they were established? Or do you think he's doing this because, of course, the Ghanaians have sent a clear message in the past election that he's understood, and that's why he's only bringing 85?
So I'd say my straight up answer would be that he's listened, and we all complained. We were actually disappointed. I mean, even we as MPP people, I'm sure in fact is going to kind of concur with me on that.
No, if you can put a little macho in the voice so that we can hear you.
Okay, I'm just so I'm sure my straight answer is he's listening. And we were hoping during the 4-year term that he would actually make some adjustments to bring the numbers down. But obviously, the president had an agenda. He's kind of fulfilled that agenda, and he decided to move on from the agenda and to greater things. And the great things to me that he feels like we've actually achieved the things we wanted with aviation. As you are well aware, we are looking for a strategic partner, if not already found, for Ghana Airways to have a national airline. That was the whole purpose of the aviation ministry. We were looking for the Zongo community. We didn't need a ministry for it, but we wanted things done fast. And in Ghana, the way the structure is set up, you need a ministry to really get things done fast. The president actually moved forward to get a ministry set up to get things done. He's actually done that. He doesn't need that anymore. We've gotten to a good point with the Zongo community. We are doing a lot more affordable housing, which is the next step. And for sure, we'll do certain things that would really propagate and really extend the effort that we made in that community. Things like other things that not off the top of my head, other things that we really wanted to do. We've really done it. We don't need a ministry for that. I mean, we want to really move forward as a nation. The president wants to move forward to greater and bigger things, and so everything that he's done, he's the biggest thing to a layman. Everybody really knew that for regional ministers, we don't need deputies, but the president followed the tradition and appointed deputies. Now he's realized it. Everybody who just kind of did a straightforward analysis will realize that we don't need that. Okay, the president is really listening to us, the intellectuals, the populace, everybody. He's really cut down on the number of ministers that we're supposed to have. We should really applaud the president for doing this. Okay, it's really difficult to come into government not knowing what you have, given the mess that Muhammad and his cohorts left us. The mess that he left us. So he came in with a big government to try to solve the problems. He solved the problem. Now, in his last 4 years, he wants to move forward bigger and bigger and bigger things. He's listening to the populace, and we are moving forward. We should applaud the president and his team.
All right. So you heard it from Mr. Atajenfi Paul. Dr. Atajenfi wants us to applaud the president because, the NDC left him a mess. He came, he fixed it. He's now getting ready to move on to bigger and better things. And that
That's
should
not true.
applaud him
That's not true.
for doing the regional. Of course, the regional integration is done. Zongo development. He think we are satisfied with where we are. That it will make sense for us to move on without that ministry. I would ask a question to Atajenfi, but before then, the question I wanted to really ask him is: the minister of Zongo community swore emphatically that ministry can never be done away with by any other government. But as we've seen, that ministry is gone. So would you say that the president has done well, that we should actually clap for him, or we should actually be applauding him, and that he's moving on to bigger and better things? Wouldn't you accept that as a fact? I'm asking you, Mr. Paul Isosu.
Okay. So, I mean, it's a lie and misinformation.
And Paul, if you can keep this in about 1.5 minutes, so we can.
Sure. It's a lie. It's misinformation. It's distortion of figures for Mr. Erasmus Atta Defi to be telling us that the NDC government left a mess behind. It is not true. Let's clear that fact. Number two, he gave an example that because they came to meet a mess, so that's why they created that number of ministries, and that they don't think there's a need for all these ministries again. And that is a probable lie. I will talk about the two ministries he spoke about: aviation ministry and the Zongo ministry. Can the two of them on this line tell me what the super incompetent Nanado government achieved under the aviation ministry? What have they been able to do under the aviation ministry? All they did was that they've mortgaged the airport company, okay, and given it to the private company, which they have their share in it. That's what they've done in that sector. And if the two of them think it is an achievement, then that's up to them. The Zongo ministry, they should mention one developmental project that has been done in the Zongo ministry. None. They promised they were going to make Nima to become Valijo. They are going to build estate in Nima. Look at the mess still in Nima. You see, this NPP government, when they ask you to look up, look down, they are a bunch of liars. They always lie to the good people of Ghana. They claim they have the men. They have the men, and they brought 126 ministers of state. They just brought those people to spend and waste the taxpayers' money. I still insist that they were underperforming. They were the most useless government ever in the Fourth Republic. When it comes to developmental projects, they've borrowed over 136 billion Ghana cedi, and we don't know how they've used the money for. They couldn't account what they've used the money for. And they will come and sit here and be telling us that now, because Mahama left a mess and they've come to take over, that is why they brought 126 people. Now they think they fixed the mess. That's why they are coming with a lower number. It is not true. It is not true. They failed the good people of Ghana. They've disappointed the good people of Ghana. And the good people of Ghana showed it clear in the election that was held a month or 2 months ago. They showed it clear that they are unhappy with this super incompetent government. That is why they lost over 36 seats in parliament. And I can bet you, and I'm very confident that Nanado is still a caretaker president. Let's wait by March ending. The Supreme Court will give a judgment, and we are going to go for a runoff. And John Mahama will be elected as the duly president of the country, and Ghana will move forward, and Ghana will go to the right direction. But Ghana will never move forward under this super incompetent government who are taking us back.
Okay, great. So, Mr. Kakape Ameyao, I've been reminded that is your political nickname. So, do you want to react to what Paul quickly said before we look at the individuals who have been nominated by the president? Mr. Ameyao, are you there?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Okay. So thank you very much. Now, if there is a useless and aimless party in Ghana, it is the DC. Addo, and the economy was doing 40 and got 2.6. And no use. Who else is useless? Who else aimless than you?
Yeah, I think we lost him because his signal may not be right. So we'll get him back for him to finish what he's saying. Mr. Erasmus, Dr. Erasmus, are you with us? Okay, he's trying to join us again. Okay, Mr. Erasmus, Dr. Erasmus, yeah, if you can give a quick rebuttal to what you heard from Mr. Paul, and then we go to the specific ministers that have been names that have been tossed out there for evaluation.
So my I think Paul gets a little hysterical with his analysis. I would tell you we inherited a very big mess from the NDC. We fixed it to a great case point. We had a whole banking sector that was not operational. And we came in, we solved the problems, and I know we stepped on a few toes, but we solved the problems that needed to be solved. And the banking sector is actually more vibrant. I know the monetary policy meeting of the Bank of Ghana was very, very laudable of the progress that we've made, given the banking sector efforts. These are some of the things that the average person probably would not see, but if you are looking at a holistic, if you're engaging in a holistic effort, you would realize that the country has come a long way since we took over from the Mahama administration. We come very far. They left us a mess. We fixed it. Now, like I say, and this is going to be my mantra going forward, we are engaging in bigger and better things. We are not
great.
worried about the little court case, the frivolous argument about a lost election. This is a Trumpist idea of calling into question something that you've legitimately lost.
Okay, so thanks for that, Mr. Kakape. Your audio is on mute. You might want to take that off. But can you also quickly, in 1 minute, respond to what Paul said, and or maybe also add to what Dr. Erasmus just said?
Yeah, thank you. So I was telling Paul that if there's a useless political party, aimless political party in Ghana, that is the NDC. They took us through Doomso.
Well, I guess we should try hard to avoid the name calling, right? I think we are using a lot of useless.
I'm not going to sit here. No. Yeah. He used aimless and useless several times. So
yeah, I'm saying,
see, that is what I always say. Yeah. I mean, I can make my submission and tell them how useless and aimless they are, because we see at the end of it, what we are looking for, I talk them the thematic areas. We have COVID. What is the recommendation that's coming from the NDC? An alternative. You have the government bringing an alternative. That makes you useless. All you know is just to criticize. So that is what I say. Now, in the government that came to took us to foreigners left, and you have another one that came informing the West environment in West Africa. You call that useless? No, you are the useless. You are the aimless. If you have a government that was in power, that was telling unemployed that I am not I am not a magician to
Okay, I think we lost his audio one more time. Yeah, so what I would do now is let me take a quick. Okay, he's coming back, but let me take a quick break, and then when we come back from the break, I'm gonna read some of the messages that we are receiving, and then I know Afai is gonna finish what he's saying. Afai, your radio, your sound seems to be in and out, but after the break, we'll come back, read messages, you finish what you were saying, and then we would bring out the individual nominees and discuss them. So, without saying another word.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka yeah, Phantom. And me di feel a buzzing pan and to see more virtual the money how Ghana mat Addo romantic. With me sending provisions, as I sutra credit, Emma Ebusuya phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a ubako www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in the credit. Na really angazankaza. I have friend numbers na screen naseno. Ghana Mat ye crown.
All right, welcome back to Ghana Agenda. We've been talking about the appointments or names that the president has submitted for vetting for specific ministerial positions. Mr. Kakape, you've been on describing or responding to what you heard from Paul, but can you summarize that quick in 30 seconds so that we can quickly? But I want this submission to be devoid of name calling and insults. Let's just go straight to the point in 30 seconds, and then we can talk about some of the ministers. I think you're on mute, so take yourself off mute and give us your thoughts quickly on what you heard from Paul. Mr. Afa, can you hear me? Okay. All right. Yeah, Mr. Afa, can you hear me? If you can hear me, go ahead. All right. He's having sound problem again. Okay, Mr. Paul, I'm gonna put up the first minister, right? So let's talk about this guy. Upon Nkrumah, who is currently the Minister of Information, is sustaining his position. First of all, is this ministry actually necessary? And how would you assess the performance of Mr. Kojo Nkrumah over the last 4 years?
Thank you, Alfred.
Yeah.
I personally think this is another ministry that could have been combined with communication. Remember, under the Mahama administration, we had Ministry of Information and Communication, and we had the minister, substantive minister over there, and we have two deputies, one in charge of information and the other in charge of what? Communication. So for me, I think this is another ministry that could have been scrapped, and they could have added to Ministry of Communication. But hey, this is their government; they know what they are doing. But I can confidently tell you that this ministry, Kojo Nkrumah, is a personal friend. I know him, I liked him, but until he became a Minister for Information under the former administration, Kojo has been putting a lot of misinformation out there. And I personally think, he's going to continue to do that. He is the machine that they use to check the misinformation and throw dust into the ears of the good people of Ghana. And that is going to continue because Kojo, don't forget, Kojo is a journalist. He's a fine journalist, but he found himself in a situation whereby he cannot do anything than to lie, to try to paint the government to look nice in the eyes of the good people of Ghana. Most of the information he puts out there are lies. By trying to dress them, put cosmetics on them for them to look good in the ears of the good people of Ghana. So Kojo over there, it's unfortunate that he has still been renominated, but there is something that we say. I personally, where I sit, I think Kojo Oppong have a better future when it comes to politics, but he is destroying his political career because we are in the world of global village. All the things we say today, the things we are doing today, the lies that you say, the misinformation that you put out there, there are videos over there that will be played to you when you want to, maybe in some years to come. And I think it's a good presidential material in the NPP, but it seems that, so to me, they are trying to destroy him. That is why they give him a position whereby he's going to continue to misinform people, and all those misinformation, when the truth and the real data come out, Kojo will be put into a situation whereby when the time comes for him to sign, he will be nailed over there.
Okay, so we have a few of them we have to go through. So tell me quickly what you said that ministry now is one of the ones that perhaps should be done away with.
Yeah, they could have combined it with communication. So could
with communication,
communication and information. That's what we did. We combined communication and information, and we have two deputies. One of the deputies was for communication, and the other was for information. So but it is their prerogative. It is their right. They know what they are doing. But I can tell you that this is a failed government. They are going to fail again. Kojo Oppong has failed in the previous administration, and he's still going to fail because this government is not going to tell the truth. They will continue to lie to the good people of Ghana. But make no mistake, by the end of the court case, if the truth come out and there's re-election and Mahama come on, you will see the rot and you see the misinformation that he has put out there. Everything will come up to the light.
Okay, great. Let me take this message quickly and then put the same question back to Mr. Kakape and Dr. Erasmus Atajenfi. So, Steve again says, Steve Dye says, great presentation, Sir Paul. So, Steve is edging you on, Paul, and I think you and Steve know each other. Steve also says, Kakape is being overmatched. To Kakape, they say you have been overmatched, so maybe we need to call reinforcement. Okay. The next comment here is coming from Ras Akolache. Mr. Ras Akolache says, panelists, please stick to the issue and stop the needless name calling. It is beneath you and waste of our precious time. Please, that is just summarizing what I was thinking as well. So thanks for sending us that message. So please, panelists, if we can, let's just concentrate on the issues at hand. And then the last comment before you come in, Mr. Kakape. The last comment comes from Thomas Asena. Thomas says, at Asantewa, I agree with you that we shouldn't blame a political party for holding rallies during the heat of COVID-19, but we can at least blame the government. If we had a government, measures could have, it says if we had a government, measures could have to be put in, no political party to go out to campaign, but here we are, where Akufo-Addo was out campaigning for votes. Ghana needs a government. Okay, so let's come to you, Mr. Efa. You were saying something. I still want to hear that, finish that, but also at the same time, give us an assessment of Kojo Oppong very quickly, so we can move on to the next person.
Yeah, there seems to be some. I don't know what's going on with it. That's why. I agree with the comments of everybody. Now, when we go to studios to do presentations, you don't use certain words on me and expect me to just sit down and go back. I say if certain words are not allowed, don't use it. And I am not gonna sit here and are they using useless and aimless and liars and stuff like that?
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
So the social should do the honor of using those words, because I use those words. I'm not going to use different words. So where it's coming from is where I gotta stop. It drops. I'm gonna forgive him for today because I had a lot of things to say in terms of aimlessness and uselessness. But I'm not gonna say that. Next time when I come and you use the boat, don't blame me when I start punching over there. So that is that. Now, so I was trying to say that, you see, we have done a lot in terms of doing so, in terms of employment, the debt that we inherit in various sectors of the economy. And that is a fact. You can disagree with it, the economic growth and all that kind of stuff. So you can disagree with it or not. And I also wanted to lay emphasis on the fact that they're talking about they don't recognize Nana and stuff like that. We are nominating our ministers. NDC people will be part of those who are going to approve or disapprove some of them and stuff like that. So I don't know sometimes some of these things, what they mean by that. Now, going into the specifics of the ministers, Kwadwo was one of the most competent ministers we had. You know, he was elevated from a deputy minister to a minister, and he excelled. He did great. If you say he said something that was contrary to bring the specifics so that we deal with it. Because I can give you specifics if I mention NDC. For instance, Mahan. We have to give him that credit. It is because he is a torment. He's tormenting them, giving accuracy of information and taking them on when they are lying. That is why they don't like some of these, you know, people that are competent and that are coming to make sure that we deliver on our mandate. So Kwadwo, I salute, and he's going to go through the nomination with ease. You know, he's going to go through Parliament, and they're going to ask him questions. It's going to be a conversation, and he's going to come out victorious. The question of whether it should have been combined with other things, that's the prerogative of the president. He's been given the mandate to deliver on which key areas he thinks he's going to need going forward. And information is key. We have people that are bent on always coming to that into the public eyes, lies, propaganda, and deceit. You need somebody as vibrant as we do, a lawyer with wide range of knowledge who will come and diffuse all these lies. And when he comes at the platform, he diffuses all these lies and propaganda. That is why where the propaganda is coming from, don't lie. But he's a good material, and we thank the president for renominating him to be a substantive information minister.
Thank you so much for that submission, and Kwadwo is great from what you observe of him over the last 4 years. Let me bring in Dr. Erasmus Atademfi. If you are still, yes, you're with us. Okay, let me bring Dr. Atademfi in. Dr. Atademfi, Kwadwo Oppong Nkrumah, who used to be a host on Multimedia Joy FM, went to law school. Actually started, you know, some investment banking or so, I understand. And then he got to run for parliament during the 2016 election, was elected and was, you know, picked as a deputy minister of information, deputizing for the current or the just past minister of Zongo development. So, you know, Kwadwo has been elevated to a minister, to become a minister himself. Now he's being nominated for the same position. What is your assessment of Kwadwo Oppong Nkrumah? Do you think he lies to us all the time? Do you think he throws propaganda? Should he be, you know, renominated? Should that ministry itself be combined with the Ministry of Communication? I think you are on mute, sir. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh. Okay. Oh.
Go ahead, Dr. Atademfi.
All right. So I would say that I don't believe the ministry needs to be combined.
Okay. What's your reason for that?
Communication and information is really two separate pathways. Communication is like in this our current dispensation. Communication is really has to do more with I would say digital stuff, and then information has more to do with providing information to the public. Now, I don't see how you combine those ministries. It's not a thing. It's not legit. It's not the right way. It's not the right approach to combine giving information to the public and trying to manage the digital industry has to do with, you know, how the penetration of mobile communication and everything else, even communication with all these social media platforms and everything. You don't want to do all that. You know the penetration of that in our global dispensation right now. So trying to combine those two doesn't work. Probably you could have done it a few years ago, but it's not the right approach at this time. Having said that, let me just say that Kojo Okonkoma has been great. He's been one of the best performing ministers throughout the 4 years of the first term of Addo. I think he deserves a second term, and I'm really impressed that he's gotten promoted to being a substantive minister. So we should actually encourage him. He's a young guy like all of us. We should encourage him. I think he's done a great job. I think it's all for the good. He's it's all the way up.
Okay, thanks for that assessment. Let me see. I think we have one more message here. Let me read that quickly, and then we can go to the next topic. Asantewa Dapa says, Mr. Alfred, you have skipped all my MPP commentary. Oh, please give me both opinions and voices. Okay, let me go back and find your messages and read them. So, okay, Asantewa Dapa, now I got it. So the first one here, you said, Paul, no party can be blamed for the upsurge of COVID cases. Both parties relaxed during elections. Both parties were holding rallies with no regard for social distances or made it mandatory to wear masks. Even when NPP, it says, even when NDC supporters were protesting at the EC, no one was wearing a mask. So, yes. I apologize for skipping your message earlier, but really good comments in there. So the next thing you said again, Miss Asantewa Dapa, is that, again, this is directed to Paul. It says, Nana Akufo is the president and will be for the next 4 years. Okay. Paul, I'm going to make sure you respond to all that before we move on. And then I think the last one here, you said, Mr. Alfred, you have skipped both my comments. Please go back and read them. So I've done just that, and I apologize for missing them earlier. So, Mr. Paul, quick one, just one, less than 30 seconds if you can respond to that. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go into the next minister. I have a few of them, and now I'm worried that we may not even finish all of them. So talk to me about the fact that, the president is president, according to what Santiwa says, and also that the NDC, as well as the MPP, both relaxed during the campaign season.
Well, I've stated that the president, we don't recognize him as a president. Mm-hmm. There is a case pending at the Supreme Court of Ghana. Until the Supreme Court of Ghana give it verdict, we don't regard him as the president of the country. We now see him to be the president selected, not president elected. Until the Supreme Court says otherwise, that is our stand. Number two, the lady spoke about, when during the election, we should not blame only one party. I still hold that the blame goes to the president. The president was seeking his self-interest. Instead of him putting restrictions in place, stopping and preventing any rallies being held, the president was number one champion person going around, holding rallies left, right. And you don't expect the opposition to sit down if the president is not showing good example. So if the president has put in restrictions in place and he stated categorically that nobody should hold a rally, would have abided by it. So the blame still goes to the president. The president did not manage the situation well. They all know it. They lied to us. They didn't give us the true figures on the ground. He took political interest over people's health, and it is the fact, and we need to say it as it is. We can't hear you. You are on mute.
Sorry about that. So another message from a friend of mine, Don Willis. Don, thanks for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Don Willis is asking, who are we? And he also sent another one, which he's asking, what about NDC? In other words, he's saying, what about NDC also, violating the COVID rules during the political season. And he says both parties must be blamed for the mess. So thanks for all the messages, Don Willis. And thanks for watching. Share our link so other friends can also enjoy our show. Now, let's go to another minister. Let's go to this minister here. The minister, the nominee for the Minister of Energy. His name is Dr. Matthew Opoku Pempre. Oh, I unfortunately typed Opoku Pempre twice, but that's how good it is, right? So let's assess Opoku Pempre. He used to be the Minister of Education during the 2016 and 2020 period. How has he performed? And he's now being moved to the Ministry of Energy. Is there a reason? Does this kind of signal to you any change in direction as far as how the president intends to govern? And I'm going to ask that to Mr. Efa first, and then I'll bring in Paul Disosu to also give us his view on that. So, Mr. Efa, what do you think about Dr. Opoku Pempre?
Yeah, so Dr. Prempe, he's in the medical field. He was in the Ministry of Education. He did excellent over there. He came and together with Dr. Chum, they said, okay, we cannot afford a situation where our kids are not in school. And now when all the kids were put in school, we had shortage of infrastructure. They brought double track,
So let me ask this clarifying question here. You are saying that he did very well. In other words, this is the person who was in charge of implementing the free SHS program, the double track program with all the color coding system where some students go to school at days and others go at other times. So explain to us what you mean when you say he did well. What are some of the specific things he did?
Oh, in the education sector?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm mentioning specific things that were not there that he put in place. Free SHS, the fact that all those who qualified to go to free SHS were, he ensured, being the president's policy, he ensured it smoothly. And when there were challenges of, too many people going and less infrastructure, the double track came to take care of that, which our friends on the other side will take. But he did work that sector. In addition to making sure that all aspects of the education, from basic to tertiary, is something that something that we can be proud of as a people, as a nation. Now, going into the Ministry of Energy, one is going to say that this is somebody that don't have any prior knowledge in energy and stuff like that. The work of the minister is managing the ministry in such a way that everybody that is in there becomes efficient and deliver on the policies that have been laid forward. So in the energy sector, we want to ensure continuity of energy so that our industries can grow. We want to make sure that we are maximizing our use of solar energy, other form of energy in addition to the one that we have, continuity, so that our industrial agenda will be upmost and not a situation where we're going to have cuts that affect industry group and other stuff, and also put in place and make sure that these gas that we are coming in, how we make sure the Ghanaian benefit from all these infrastructure that we talked about last week become materialized, and we are coupled, because we cannot afford to say that we are going to industrialize without a shortfall in energy. So this is a man that has shown a track record of being excellent in education sector, and he's going to be good in the energy sector. So I mean, he's a good pick, I would say.
Okay, great. So in your assessment, you think he's done so well in education that he should be rewarded with helping us industrialize by providing, the same efficiency in the energy sector. Okay, let me now transition to, let me go to Mr. Paul Disosu to assess the performance of Dr. Prempre. So, Mr. Paul, what do you think about Dr. Prempre? Do you think he was that successful. Of course, he was the one, who executed the implementation of free SHS.
Thank you, Mr. Amuzu. I think before I go there, my friend Kaka, he has a lot. They are in charge, and I'm surprised that his network is very bad. He should go and get a high-speed internet so that we can hear him very clearly. When
come on, that's low blow. The man is in a.
He's breaking a lot. I'm not hearing he's breaking a lot. So
yeah, just maybe financial of where he's picking our call from.
They are the government in power, so they should get a good internet and let's debate.
Don't do that. All right.
Anyway, Dr. Napo is it's a disaster to me. Why am I saying so? Mm-hmm. Look, the Ministry of Education, okay, to be one of the most serious and most important sector that we should not joke with. The MPP government led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo put quantity over quality. The MPP government put quantity over quality. The free SHS of the free secondary school education is not something that is their baby. It is in Ghana's constitution. It was written down that as we move on, all secondary school going, students should have education free. That is why the NDC government, under His Excellency and under the brave John Mahama, implemented the progressive free SHS, whereby their students were not paying fees, and it was going to go on, and we started building extra classes, extra dormitories to accommodate, the numbers. When we get there, then we'll convert and cut across all for everybody to go in. How did we get this government doing? Once again, this government lied to the good people of Ghana and told them that they are going to implement universal free SHS. The good people of Ghana voted for them, and when they came into power, what did they do? They implemented the progressive, which the NDC was doing. Don't forget that when they came in, they started with the first years, second years, and the third years. That's how they started. And it is termed as progressive. It is not universal. It was never universal. So they lied to the good people of Ghana in that aspect. The most dangerous part of it is that because they were not well prepared, it was a political campaign, a mischief they threw to the eyes of the good people of Ghana, which they were supposed to, fulfill their promise. They were forced to introduce double track, where they call the red, gold, green. And we named it the red, gold, green because there were some people who were going to school 2 months. They'll come and stay home 3 months, and the others will go to. It was a disaster. Look, education should not be subjected on quantity over quality. When we are talking about education, we need to bring quality. We need to train quality students so that in the near 20, 30 years to come, we have people who will take over from us. I would say Napo was disaster. He couldn't manage the ministry well. That is the reason why he's being pushed to another ministry. And I can confidently see him, creating another disaster at the energy sector. And I will not be surprised if the Supreme Court make a decision. I think all these ministers will not even be serving. We'll get new batch of, competent ministers who will take over the affair of the nation, and we'll show them how to manage the country. So as for now,
I like the way you always find a way to bring it to the petition, but thanks for that submission. I think that was good.
As for now, it's a disaster. He didn't well, and let me admit over here, his deputy, who has now been appointed as the new Minister for Education.
Yeah.
Let me be honest. I think, when he's given the opportunity, he may be able to do something as compared to that. But Napo was a failure, and I think he's going to fail at the energy ministry. And don't be surprised, we are going to continue to host this program. I hope my good friend Kakapi will be still hosting the program with me. In the next, if things don't change and they have to, it's that the Supreme Court affirmed that Nana Addo won the election. Don't be surprised you're going to see doom so before the end of this year. Don't be surprised. So, and I am cautioning our listeners that energy sector is going to be a disaster under NAPO. That's what I have to say.
Okay, great. Thanks for that submission. Let me bring in Dr. Erasmus Satajinfi to also give us a quick assessment of the outgoing Minister of Education, who is now being nominated for the Ministry of Energy.
I think Napo did a wonderful job in spite of the challenges we faced. I mean, implementing a free education program was not easy by any stretch. You have to understand that we are dealing with a group of people who said implementing free SHS was not even possible. So coming in, implementing, we even in the LPP, we were actually scared of how we were going to navigate this process. We got Napo, we got Dr. Duchin, who was in California. President brought him in to assist Napo, and we were able to really implement this, execute this marvelously. Look, as a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'll tell you one thing. It's a life lesson. The idea, formulating the idea in your mind is just not enough. You should be able to move it to the point where you execute. A lot of times, look, I know a lot of people, they have ideas. I have this money here. How am I going to put it to good use? You formulate the idea. How are you going to execute based on the plan in your thought process? We were able to execute. Mind you, NDC, Muhammad, cohort, everybody said free SHS was all possible in Ghana.
Right.
We were able to execute. Who was the minister? Napo. Remember, Nana has always had a strategy of always dealing with ministries based on what the needs assessments portend. The need assessment, remember, do you know why the health ministry is headed by a chartered accountant?
No, tell me.
Mr. Adimamedu is a chartered accountant.
Yeah.
His son is a personal friend. I work for Mr. Adimamedu at Gamot. He is somebody I know personally. He is a chartered accountant. He put a chartered accountant and a ministry.
I think your sound may be down as well.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
He put Mr. Adimamedu at the Ministry of Health because the needs assessment suggested that they needed somebody who had a strong suit in finance. Mr. Adimamedu is strong, powerful. Okay, he used to be the CFO of Gamot. He is putting Napo at the Ministry of Energy because we need a strategist. We need somebody who can get things done. At the Energy Ministry, we need somebody who can get things done at this time. He is putting Amewu at railways because Amewu can also get things done physically on the ground. Okay?
So yeah.
This is why we are doing all these things. Do not at any point underestimate the thought process of the president, and don't underestimate the thought process of we in the MPP. We know what we need. So it's a case of what do we need at this ministry? Who is best suited to get the needs achieved? And that's what we're doing. We are not just putting people there just for the sake of it, just to make things, just to make people happy. No, we have no interest in all that.
Okay, great. So you think the president really, or what you are saying is that the president is doing, or is selecting these people because of the need assessment that has been done, and that Napo in this case is a strategist, somebody who can get things done. And that is what exactly we needed at the Ministry of Education. Got granted. Okay, so a quick response from you, just in 30 seconds, if you can keep it there, if you can keep it tight, Mr. Paul. You know.
So let me say this. I mean, I totally disagree with Mr. Dr. Atajimfi. Look,
Okay.
the MPP never did anything in the energy sector. I mean, warehouse served at the energy sector didn't even add 1 megawatt of power to the sector. NDC built everything, prepared the grounds for them. They just came in there to appropriate the money that was coming in there.
Okay.
They just waste the money that were coming into that sector. Number 2, as we speak, okay, the independent power producers in Ghana, the government is giving them $2 billion.
But we left the independent power. Those contracts were signed by the NDC before they checked out.
I agree. They were signed by the NDC, but because of the appropriation of the sector, that is why they are now owing $2 billion to the independent power producers.
But the argument is when the NDC signed those agreements, these are like take or purchase agreements, or so they call them.
Take off purchase agreement, yes.
Yeah, which means when we produce the power, whether you take it or not, you're still paying. And of course, this new government or the Akufo-Addo's government has to kind of renegotiate some of those agreements. And that may be the reason why we are accumulating all that debt. Wouldn't you say?
That is not true. That is not true. Which of the agreement did they renegotiated? Let me give you an example. America, which they said they were going to renegotiate it, and they made a lot of noise when they were in opposition, saying that the then NDC government inflated the cost of America by $150 million. And that when they come to power, they will do everything possible to renegotiate the deal and get that $150 million for the good people of Ghana.
Right.
You see, when they got into power, the president involved with his executive secretary, they sat down, then minister, they were trying to inflate that contract to $800 million more. Due to the vigilance of the good people and the members of parliament at the NDC side, the minority in parliament, we caught them. If we have not caught them, that money or that contract has been inflated over $800 million. That was what they were going to do to Ghana. So they never renegotiated any contract. It was a lie. The one that they tried to renegotiate, they rather ended up inflating the Ameri deal, which the president gave an accent, executive accent to it, which would have gone through if there is not due to the vigilance of the people in parliament. Ghana would have lost $800 million, which the president and his executive secretary penned their signature on. Hello?
And then, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. Let me read a few comments. I hear what you say. Let me read a few comments, and then what we would do is
I think you let Mr. Dr. Atajimfi to come and tell us. I've stated that the one that they negotiated, they rather inflate the cost. I've stated it. You should come and say it's not true.
All right, we'll have him return to kind of tell you whether it's true or not. But in the meantime, let me read this message from Santewa again. So Muhammad did not hold rallies. Isn't he competent enough to know that everyone should wear masks and social distance? He doesn't need an example to follow COVID protocols, especially if he thinks he can lead a country. He should have shown leadership skills and made it mandatory for everyone to wear masks and social distance. So that's from Santewa Dapa. Our boss, Steve Dye, says, great show, Alfred, and your guest, Paul was super. Kakape being KKP, as usual. Doctor was great. So, Doc, compliments from our boss to you for the good job.
Asante was that leadership by example. Leadership by example. The president should have shown a good example and would have followed. This shows the president has failed. Based on her comment, she has admitted that the president has failed.
Right. Okay. Let me take the next one, which is from Don Willis. He said he was good because he had a very good deputy of education. So he's saying that Mr. Dr. Prempre Napo was good because he had a good deputy. The next one again is also from Don Willis. Don Willis says, please stop the propaganda and be real. And then again, Don Willis says, NDC and NPP are both playing with education of our children, and we need a different narrative. Okay, great comments so far, Don Willis. Keep them coming. And he has the last one for us, which says, boss, it is our money. Great job, NDC. So the NDC, I guess you are getting a thumbs up for some of the submissions you guys have proffered so far. Okay, let's take a quick break. And when we return, I have a few more of the nominees that I want to bring up. But this time around, we want to do it very fast. So bear with me. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. Let's now take the next minister. Who's the Minister of Finance? The Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta. He's being retained. He's not being changed. What do you think about Ken Ofori-Atta? Has he done well over the last 4 years, or does he have things that you think he could have improved or he can improve on? And let's start with you, Paul Disosu.
Well, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you clearly. Go ahead.
Yeah, our economy is under ICU because of this gentleman, Ken Ofori-Atta.
Explain.
Look at Ghana's economy at it now. Ghana's economy is growing downwards instead of it growing upwards. And as I stated earlier on, this is the minister who presents different set of figures to the good people of Ghana. When he goes to the IMF, he presents different set of figures because he knows he cannot go and lie to the good people, or he cannot go and lie to the IMF. Look, this minister might be one of the dishonest ministers we've had, and a Japa deal, which he used most of his company, enterprise insurance, data bank. They were the financial advisors and all those stuff. So I don't understand why the president should bring this gentleman back. This gentleman is going to be one of those ministers that's going to have a tough time with the committee. And I'm happy that this time the appointment committee is made up of 13 of the NDC side and then 30 of the MPP side. So let's wait and see what will happen, because a lot of things will come out during his vetting. He has not done well. His performance are very bad. A Japa deal, PDS deal, I can mention the 2.5 Ken bond, all those deals, you go and answer them over there. We are going to make sure that this time it's not going to be a rubber stamp parliament. We've stated it. We are going to work in the interest of the good people of Ghana. The NDC side on the committee will make sure that they will put everybody to street proof. They will make sure that the truth come out. We will not just pass people over there. They will do their job because of the interest of Mother Ghana, not because of the interest of any political party, not because of the interest of any individual, but the interest of Ghana. And I can tell you, this is going to be another show of misinformation or misinterpretation of figures. They will send wrong figures to us and give the right figures to the IMF. This is going to continue if we retain this man at the Ministry of Finance.
Okay, let me bring Doctor in. I think we've lost Efa, and I'm reaching out to him to make sure that he's able to join us again. But let's bring Dr. Erasmus Atajenfi in. Doc, are you still with us, Doc? If you are, I guess my question to you is the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta has been accused of, providing keeping two different sets of books. One for the IMF when he needs to go and explain to them, what's going on with our economy, and then he keeps a completely separate one for Parliament when he comes to talk to we the Ghanaians. What is your assessment of his performance over the last 4 years and the fact that he's been retained for the same position?
So there's a little bit of confusion on the NDC side, and I think people need to be aware. NDC, they have smart people. I don't even know why they don't do this. Regulatory books and accounting books are quite different. Sometimes you have to present your regulatory books to the regulatory agencies based on certain criteria. While it might appear that they are largely the same, it's not always the same compared to the accounting income statement. So, for instance, there's Alfred, you are a CPA, tax books and tax balance sheets are different from actual income statement for instances like a bonus depreciation, for instances on how you want to recognize bad debt and stuff like that. These are things that are common knowledge. So for the NDC to use some of those instances as political bait, as political point scoring, is quite disappointing. It almost appears that they are, no disrespect, they are unintellectual. Okay, you go to a regulatory framework, you present your books as the regulatory agency wants you to present the book. So the pieces that they picked out to say that Ken has presented a book that was different from what they presented from Parliament. They presented to Parliament what the actual standpoint was, and presented it to the regulatory agency what the actual regulatory agency compliance requirements are needed. Nothing foul took place. I don't even know where and how we are having any type of argument about these things. This is common knowledge in the intellectual space. I'm surprised that it's even something that we even have to talk about. The people in NDC actually know this. Ken hasn't done anything wrong. I don't even know why we even have to discuss this.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Of course. The IMF is not making any. The IMF is not making any. Doesn't have any comments about those.
Yes, they haven't created any fuss. They haven't said anything negative about anything. I don't even know how this even becomes a political tool. It's just rather sad. So Paul, let me just tell you this. This is an accounting thing. Okay, this is an accounting and finance thing. Maybe you're not an accounting and finance person. Those of us in the frame, in the space, we know this. Okay, there's no problem.
Okay, cool. So you've heard it, Paul.
Alfred.
Yeah.
You know the IMF will not mingle in our politics. You know that.
It's not. They're not mingling in our politics. They just don't have to comment on something that has been done right. They are not mingling.
Dr. The IMF will never.
I'm telling you, let me educate you. Take the education from me.
Can you let me talk?
Take the education from me.
I'm not going to take an education for you because you are playing politics.
I'm not even doing politics here.
You are doing politics. I'm saying it's a fact.
I'm not. Let me tell you this, Paul. I'm not here as an MPP person. I'm here to educate our listeners here. And I'm telling you, you take the education from me as an IT person. I'm telling you, there are different sets of books when you go into different spaces. Okay?
Yeah. So let's agree to disagree, right? There are different sets of books for different spaces. For example, for we the accountants, we keep tax, financial statements, and we keep another separate one for income statement purposes, so for reporting. Yeah. But that's not the issue here. The issue here was the fact that the banking sector cleanup expenditure was not captured as part of our when we do calculate our annual expenditures, we don't add those ones. So that was the case. That was where we're having the variations between what was being reported and what was taken to the IMF.
Apart
But
from the banking sector, also the mining sector.
energy sector.
Exactly. So look,
but,
these figures.
But they
figures
can't disclose this to the parliament. So we know them as expenditures that were incurred, but just that for purposes of reporting to the IMF, because these things are one-time expenditures that they were not captured on the books.
I'm not an economist, but the simple basic fact is that he keep on reporting different figures to the IMF and reporting different figures to the Parliament of Ghana, where he has to be honest. The people of Ghana, he has refused to do that. And also, let me state over here, when we come to the banking sector cleanup, I think that Attack will definitely, if he owns a business that is about to collapse, and he, if he can put $9 million into it to revive it, I'll do that than ending up collapsing the business, ending up spending $21 million in that. I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll do that.
What I'll do is Paul, I know you are leaving, right? We have to come back at some point and talk about the banking sector cleanup. I know that is a very convoluted story that we definitely need some time to deal with. So
I'll bring an economist from our end to face Dr. Tajimfu. I'll not come in. Dr. will not come and bully me. I'll bring an economist to face.
So I'm admitting that he's bullying you. Okay, so
he's not bullying me. He can't bully me. He can never bully me. But when you want to go into the banking sector itself, I'm not an economist. I'm an engineer. I'll bring an economist on the show to debate him.
That's fair. So let's do this. I know you said you have to be in another meeting, so I'm going to bring the rest of the candidates, the nominees, quickly. So you can give me like quick
review, my quick view, right?
Your quick view on each of them. So let's look at Dominic. Dominic Nitiwo was the defense minister. He's been retained. What do you think about Dominic's performance over the last 4 years?
He will go and explain at what happened at Ayawaso. It is waiting for him. He will go there to explain. He will go there to explain what happened at the Chima's out. He will go there to explain. He will go there to explain who called the military into the Parliament House on the 6th of January 2021. He will go there to explain. So he should go. We are waiting for him.
Okay. Let's then look at the Minister of Education nominee, Dr.
I don't have any issue. I don't have any issue with this, Mr. Dr. Yao Duchuma. I mean, I think
the consensus is Dr. Duchuma is really good because his performance is one of the the best among at least all the Akufo-Addo ministers. Would you agree with that?
Well, I'm not going to say yes or no, but I just want to say that I want to observe him in the education ministry. Let's see what he can do. That is only if by March ending, if they've not been kicked out of power, that the power has been taken from them.
Okay, I know you were going to say that. All right, let's also take a look at Mr. Ambrose Derry from Interior Minister nominee.
He's the minister who went to the committee that was set up by Nanado, and he went and said different thing, and his police chief also went to set different thing. All those things they will go and talk about it at the commission.
Looking forward to this committee level discussions, right?
Yes.
Let's look at this Alan Chamante for trade.
Trade. Alan Chamante trade. I would say maybe. Let's give him another try. But I think he was prevented from doing his job. They frustrated him. So this is internal politics from the MPP side because they know he's a viable candidate. So they try to frustrate him and try to create, in inverted commas, unity government, and which is not the true case. They are just trying to use him. So I don't have nothing to say about that.
Okay. How about the National Security Minister, nominee, Kandapa?
Mr. Amuzu, when was the last time you stepped foot to Ghana?
I was there in 2019, November. Yes.
Were you safe when you went there? Were you able to sleep? Ghana's security is deteriorating. Kanapa, and I'm surprised that Kanapa has been brought back. Look, the situation and the security in Ghana is not the best. Anytime I was in Ghana 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Anytime I go to Ghana, my security is not the best. I don't see the security in Ghana is the best. As we speak, the security in Ghana is not the best. Kadapa is like a caretaker minister. He doesn't even know what is going on. And he will also go and meet the committee over there. So they will be waiting for him over there.
Okay, then the last one, last but not the least, our own Peter Mo.
As from the least said about him, the better. So I don't want to even comment about him because look, the expenditures that has been incurred at the energy ministry, he will go and account for it because he was appointed there. He admitted on a Joy FM discussion radio interview that they've not even added a single megawatt. So therefore, a lot of expenses that has gone on there, the books will be looked into, and then he will be there to answer questions.
Okay. So that has been really good. I know you have limited time with us.
Let me listen to Dr. Atta Jemfi, then I get off. Let me listen to what he's going to say.
You want to listen to Dr. Atta Jemfi? Okay, Dr. Atta Jemfi, let's do the same exercise, right? I'm going to take you through the ones that I've shown to him. So we start from Dominic. You've already talked about Ken Oforiatta. So let's talk about Dominic. Dominic Ntifo, who is nominated for the defense minister.
I think he's done a wonderful job. The military is happy. I have friends in the military. They're excited. Do you know that during the elections, NDC propagated a storyline that the military or the special services people voted for them? And when it actually came out, they actually lost in the special election. The NDC lost. That's one thing. Ntifo, he did a great job. The reason why we are maintaining him. Okay? We can move to the next person. Ntifo is great.
Let's talk about the minister nominee for education.
This freaking goes without saying. This is the California Education Board person. He's done a great job in California. President actually tapping from California. Great guy. MPP USA. We love him. He's doing a great job. We at MPP USA are actually proud that we have one of our own who's occupied a ministerial position. And we love that. We love that. He got a great job. Great job. Free teachers.
Okay. Derry. Andrew Derry for Minister of Interior.
We don't have a problem in Ghana. Well, what do we have? There are no problems. Look, for us,
there are issues like the police. There are issues where.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Let me say this. For as aggressive as NDC is, for political power, for as aggressive as Paul DeSoso is, sitting in Massachusetts, these people are aggressive. They want power. We have no problem, Ghana. This is the Interior Minister. Everything is going as planned. What else do we need? Do we have a problem? We don't. I've been look. Paul.
Yeah, but we have issues where people start doing investigations going on.
We have less incidents of armed robbery. We have less incidents of anything. The only thing that we have is market burning. Of course, to propagate their own agenda, having lost the election. We know NDC people are doing it.
But there are so many instances of police misbehavior where people were shot, and we still during the election
misbehavior.
These are
people who were trying to disrupt electoral activity. These people.
But you still expect an investigation, right?
Of course, we are going to investigate. Of course, we have a plan to investigate. Which is why we've got the minister to investigate. This is not something that we are taking lightly. We are not taking this lightly. We are taking it to the highest echelon, and we are going to investigate, bring the president responsible for it to book. There are no problems with that. This guy has done a wonderful job. And we want that to continue.
Okay. Okay, good. Alan Chamante for Minister of Trade and Industries.
I love Alan. He's in charge of 1B, 1F.
Yeah.
We love this. We have 191 coming on board. So far, we have 61 before elections. We're on track. This guy is in charge of the industrialization of Ghana. What more do you want? Do you want something else? Do you want something else? After Nkrumah, nobody, no government has been very, very vibrant in the industrialization of Ghana than the FPP government. And this man is in charge. What one do you want? You want something else?
Well, now, is he running for president as well? Do you know?
I don't know. I can't tell you that.
Okay, great. All right. Then Kandapa.
Ken is doing great. After NDC tried to disgrace the man with some phantom video, WhatsApp video, this man is doing a great job. We've been able to stop a lot of this Sakawa movement in Ghana. We've been able to actually get a lot of the activity of that.
Right.
And I don't know why we want to change somebody who's doing a good job. Okay. The man is a great guy. He's a workaholic.
All right, let's go to the Volta region and assess the performance of Peter Amau.
Minister of the Year, new MP, new MP of the Year.
Oh, Minister of the Year, new MP of the Year.
Oh, Minister of the Year.
What is his achievement in the Ministry of Energy? What has he done?
This guy was able to solve our energy crisis. He was able to ensure that all the excesses that we had in the energy ministry were dealt with. Look, this guy is a freaking hard-working guy. He dealt with issues as they were presented to him. Okay? He dealt with, do you think the voter region, MPP has never won a seat in the voter region? This guy, you know, if I was going to talk...
but technically he didn't win that seat, right? Because they have to
if I was going to talk in my street language, I'll use some choice words to his benefit. But I'm going to tell you, this guy, he's the man. He's the minister of the term. No, not minister of the term.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right. Okay. Let me bring
which is why he won his seat. And I'm telling you, people, if you MDC people in Hohoi were like, there's no reason why you wouldn't vote for me. And I'm telling you on the ground because I was in Ghana during the elections.
Okay. Okay. Let me bring Paulie. He's screaming.
Let Dr. Tajimfi understand that winning Huawei was political imagination that was orchestrated in Huawei. They know very well that the Akpafu, the South town that were taken out, if those people are allowed to vote as part of Huawei, Amewu would not have been the candidate. Number two, Amewu imported people from Accra, which Dr. Atajimfi, he knows, and I know. He about 12 STC buses. I was there, I saw it myself, and took those people from Accra to Huawei to go and vote for him. So what is he talking about? It's unfortunately, and it's very sad that he was talking about the teaching.
So what you're saying is Amewu transported people of Huawei who lives in Accra
to Huawei,
but are registered to vote in Huawei.
And paid them. He paid them. I am telling you, my auntie is in Huawei. She gave money to my auntie.
What is wrong with that?
She paid them. She gave money to my auntie. She paid.
I said, what is wrong with getting mobilizing or providing?
There is everything wrong with that. That is vote buying. That is vote buying. They were in government, so they used the taxpayers' money to do this shady deal. So Amewu, he knows himself that he never won that seat on clean hands. Let's put that one aside. I'm very disappointed in Dr. Atajimfi for saying those guys at Techima South were misbehaving. That's why the police shot into them. That is not true. Alfred, I was expecting you to correct him. That is not true. The people never did anything. They were just there to make sure that their vote is being counted And this super incompetent government sent the military, the Delta Force people, wear military uniform for them. They wear and killed innocent people. And I was suspecting Dr. Atta Jeffy to be sympathizing with these people, those people who have lost their lives, and those people who were shot should be sympathizing with them. He's here saying that they were misbehaving, and he doesn't see anything wrong with it. I hope if he had a family member who was part of the crowd and was shot, he would not have been here saying this thing. Number 3, I want you to make it clear to him that the NDC will build market. We don't bend market. We build market. That is why we build the ultra-modern market in KJTIA for the good people in Ashanti region. He should tell me which market have they been able to build these 4 years in government. They've taken over 134 billion Ghana cedis, borrowed 134 billion Ghana cedis. What have they been able to do with the money? You should tell me one market they build. We don't bend market, we build market. We build market. The end
let's get Dr. Tajenfi to kind of give us a quick 30 seconds rebuttal. He's saying that, the NDC builds market, the NDC doesn't bend markets. So he doesn't understand what you mean by, the NDC is orchestrating the burning of markets. What do you say to that?
That's quite curious, when people claim to build markets, are actually inciting their own force to go and bend markets. You can use that as a rhetoric, political point scoring. It's all on you. We know this. We know the security agents around this. You guys are bending markets from Accra to Tamale to Kokrantuni and everywhere. Places. Okay. Now.
Okay, so that's still an allegation, right? Because there's no.
I think we can prove. We should prove it.
We know this. The security
let him prove it.
And whilst I don't want to use this show to speculate. I get it. We don't have any real evidence, but I'm going to tell you this: we are on it, and the security agents are going to come up with their findings. But we know these people are behind these market building banners.
Okay.
So
let me read a few comments, and then we talk about the Monetary Policy Council's meeting that is going to happen this week quickly, and then we bring the show to an end. So a few comments came in since we were busy analyzing and reviewing the ministerial nominations. So one from, I don't know if we read this already. It says, well, Ghana has been ranked the most peaceful country in West Africa and third on the continent according to 2020 Global Peace Index report. So many African Americans are moving to Ghana because it is so peaceful and safe. Please watch which Ghana are you talking about. This is coming from Asante Wadapa. So Asante Wadapa is saying we are rated very peaceful. And okay, so Paul is going to be dropping off from us as well. Okay, then the last one here, another comment here from Asante Wadapa say Ghana has level 1 travel advisory and is generally safe to travel according to the U.S. Department of State. Please, you can't say this information is false as well. Okay? Thanks for sending your comments in, Ms. Asantewa Dapa. And thanks for watching. Tell a friend every Sunday that the Ghana Agenda is getting really interesting. The panelists are very much on top of the issues. And Ras Akolache says, I love Alan Chamate, but to say he is industrializing Ghana is patently laughable. 1F has a nice ring to it, and that is where it stops. We have a long way to go. We cannot industrialize when we have a glut of imported goods choking local industries. We need a balanced approach. Okay, so thanks for that comment too, Mr. Russ Akolache. I'm going to take a quick break, but when I turn around, we want to talk about the Monetary Policy Committee, which is a division of Bank of Ghana formed in 2002 to stabilize prices. And they do that through the deployment of monetary policy tools like the monetary policy rate. They will be meeting again. It's enshrining the the act that formed them, which is the Bank of Ghana Act of 2002, which is Act 612, give them the power to do so. So when we get back from this break, we will look at the pending meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee. We would first of all look at the last meeting, which was held in November, and what came out of that meeting. And then we would, based on that analysis, see if we can project what would come out of the next meeting, which is going to be the 98th meeting of the Monetary Policy Council, to take place between January 26th to January 29th. We should expect a press briefing after that meeting on 1st of February, where we will find out what the new monetary policy rate is. So we take a break. When we get back, we will go right into looking at Monetary Policy Council's pending meeting.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka yeah Bantam. And me di feel a buzzing pan and see one virtually the money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions? As I such credit, Emma Ebusuya phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's provisions in credit. Na Villianga Zankasa. I have friend numbers na screen as Ghana Mat ye crano.
Right, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfredo Muzu. We are on every Sunday starting from 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tell your friends who are interested in politics and economics, finance, and how the country is governed to tune to this show. We bring guests who are really on top of the issues, and they help educate us. We also talk about the COVID-19. A pandemic that is affecting the entire world, and how that is actually unraveling in Ghana. So this show is a fan or viewer powered show. We take your comments, we read them live, and we welcome them that you participate. You help us do the education by asking from our guests very relevant questions. So what I'm going to do now, Mr. Tajamfi, is take us to the meeting that we are expecting to start from the 26th of January to 29th, which is the Monetary Policy Committee meeting. This meeting happens every 2 months. It happens every 2 months. The last time this meeting was held was in November, which is the 97th policy meeting. And out of that meeting came certain things that we want to look at. We want to look at the rates they set. We want to look at the composite indicator of economic activity, which is all the indicators of economic activity combined, so that we can have a good understanding of whether we expect the economy to grow, to contract, based on what we've seen with COVID so far. So I'm going to bring some charts up, and when I bring those charts up, we will look at the trends of certain indicators and then use that to help analyze the Ghanaian economy. So without much ado, let me start with the first one here, Mr. Jemfi. If you can help me with this analysis. The first one I'm going to bring here is the real composite. I don't know if you can see that, the real composite economic activity chart. So what you can see, let me actually take out this banner here quickly so we can see the whole thing. Okay, so what you can see is a spread from September 2018, November 2018. So we are tracking it from September all the way through September 2018, November 2018, then January 2019. So we're going from 2018 all the way through to 2020. And what you see is the composite indicator of economic activity. What this means is that, your constructions, your travel, and we're going to look at all the things that actually go into this composite. But what this composite is looking at right now is telling us that in March, when coronavirus happened, you could see where the drop actually happened in March 2020. There was a sharp drop of economic activity. And I think that was about 1.9% contraction. In other words, the economic activity has contracted, right? 1.9% in March. In about April, May, it actually went to about almost 10.5% before recovering in June, July. And you could see that it's still on the recovery trajectory. This is the analysis we got from the November meeting. What are your expectations for the meeting that is going to occur next week? Mr. Tajenfi.
So, as you can see, we peaked in January. We started dropping as Corona hit. We all know Corona, as we got the information from China and the US, it kind of started dropping. We dropped, in February, and then we even dropped further in March. We flattened out in April, and then as the government started realizing that the pandemic wasn't as severe in Ghana as it was in other places, after we hit it and they eased restrictions, we kind of like eased up a little bit, went up, and we went on since. Now, if you look at the monetary policy report, Corona is all over the report. Even when the government reduced their discount rate or the monetary policy rate, which kind of encouraged lending, there was no economic activity to apply it to. So, for sure, lending increased, people to the loan, but economic activity was low, so inflation for a fact was also low. Inflation actually dropped. Interest rates, of course, interest rates related to the monetary policy dropped. A lot of everything, Corona was on top of everything. Our balance of payments, even though we received less money from our exports and everything, we still had a positive balance of payment, which goes to show that our Corona kind of impacted everything.
Right.
Bottom line is government intervention, stimulus packages played a big role in the economic activity. This was more like an artificial economy where you couldn't place any type of real analysis to it because government intervened, much like the US. So even though with lower inflation, economic activity improved, but we also know that everything that happened had to be related to Corona. And so we can really, our assessment is always going to be impinged by the Corona activity.
Okay, so
economy is definitely on. Economy is definitely on a recovery trend.
Yeah,
for sure. But then we have to see where Corona kind of we get the vaccines in, people get taken care of, and see the real impact of what the monetary policy rate did. Even though lending is increased and everything, banks are willing to lend. I mean, capital ratios are higher than normally expected. But of course, it had to do with the fact that government increased capital requirements. So we do know that's going to be a fact. Okay.
Right.
So once that we've seen all that, we want to see the after Corona effect. But we should be assured about the fact that the economy is on a good trajectory.
Okay. So Back in 2007, we adopted this economic targeting framework where we said we would ensure that, I said economic targeting framework. We adopted this inflation targeting framework where we wanted to always keep an inflation of 8 plus or minus 2. In other words, inflation is going to be 8. The lowest we expect it to be going should be a 6, right? Or the highest or the ceiling that we expect inflation to go should be a 10. Because of Corona this time around, I know we went above 10 a little bit. And the reason we went above 10, as explained by the governor, is that there were demand pressures. Of course, people were locked down. They needed food. So you could see the food inflation actually going to almost even 15%. Because there was so much demand for that, all right? Demand for sanitizers and all these things. So that puts the demand inflationary pressure on the banks to where the bank has to increase or where inflation was read to be around 10.4 or so for 2020. Now, in November, the governor also said because we are recovering, there is now a supply side constraint to inflation, which we are also going to face. So, do you see interest rates or inflation stabilizing, or do you see that perhaps next week meeting will come out with a higher inflation number than expected because of the perceived supply pressure? Supply pressure meaning that now that we are recovering, and you can see even if we open up the composite to see what are the various things in that composite, that economic activity composite, you see that industry is beginning to produce based on the electricity consumption in industry. And so there is a lot being produced that there's not enough money to purchase. So there is this supply side sort of pressure on the inflation as well. So how do you square both? Do you think we are going to see inflation going up, or do you think it will stabilize as we wait for the next meeting to come through and have the press briefing?
In my estimation, I feel like inflation is going to inch up slightly because of the Christmas, the holiday season. People are spend more.
Yeah.
There's a little more economic activity because of the holiday season. So we will see a little bit more of that. I don't in the long term, at least until Corona is until at least we get the vaccines to Ghana. Corona is eating up. There's a lot of skepticism. People are a little scared right now, and it's going to contract the economy. So while maybe this meeting is going to show a little bit of more promising results of economic activity, this is going to also contract in the next quarter, and so we should expect all that. So again, economic activity is going to inch up the dollars, all the good numbers. Inflation going to be high, lending higher, because to be sincere with you, people felt the corona in Ghana. People actually felt corona was actually gone, so economic activity had almost returned to normal. So
Right.
we'll see an inching up of that, but now that people see the spike, people are going to recoil, and not this quarter. Maybe I'm just projecting further. Not this quarter, but the next quarter, we're going to see less economic activity, which is going to impact the results as we see it going forward.
Okay, so I was just trying to peel into some of the details here quickly, and then before we bring the show to an end. So I'm looking here now at import and export. So you see that import being the blue dash lines, and export being the solid red line. You can see that even exports was on decline starting around December. Of course, December you can see how export goes way up. Of course, Christmas and businesses are very actively exporting things out of the country. So is import. Import you can see right around November, December 2019. of course, we had imported a lot, so you could see, it rising and forming a little bit of a apex there. And then there was that sharp decline in January 2020 to kind of match with, of course, coronavirus hitting China, and therefore a lot of the things we import from China kind of went down, or we are no longer importing. So you can see that sharp drop, and then it recovered a little bit before March. And when March hit and we closed the borders and quarantine, you see the drop in imports again. But for some weird reason, exports went up. So I don't know what actually was getting exported at that time frame. But then you can see the trends as we go, right? But if you look by September time frame, we are beginning again to export a lot more than we were importing. What do you expect import and export to land in this policy meeting that is going to happen next week? Do you think because of Christmas and of course the pace of the recovery, the election, and all the things that happen, that we'll see a jump in how much we imported as one of the things that come out of this meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. But then again, you have to also acknowledge that because of Corona, the drop that we saw from January all the way to March, the little spike that we saw, and the vicissitudes of it, the ups and downs, we know it all had to do with the fact that we have a pandemic going on. Well, where is that going to export to? We're going to export to UK, US, Asia.
China is one of our biggest.
We had big restrictions, and I'm not sure that
the exports we are mainly talking about cocoa, gold. We are talking about gas, petroleum. The petroleum, of course, because the price dipped from $65 to about 46 or so. So that is also reflected in that export number. You could tell.
But then again, people are going to be, when we talk about oil, people are going to be hedging and waiting for prices to inch up higher and all that. I know our prices, our balance of payments were heavily impacted by the low level of crude prices. So we do know all of that. What we need to recognize is we had a situation, other countries that we export to had a situation. We are not going to be able to navigate it so easily. It's going to impact our economic activity.
Okay. Let's take the last chart, which is kind of to decompose the things that go into the CIEA, which is the composite indicator of economic activity, which is kind of bringing so many different, because you can't predict how the economy is going to behave based on one indicator. So, the Bank of Ghana, in its wisdom, came out with this composite indicator, which kind of it's a few, which has a lot in there, and you can see that cement sales is one of the things that are in the composite. SNIT contribution by the private sector is another. Industry consumption of electricity, it's also part of the component. Imports, part of the component. Export is there. VAT, domestic VAT collections, port activity, which means all the things that are coming through the ports, either the air or the land, the seaport. And then credits to private sector, tourist arrivals, and then tourist arrivals. So those are the things that go into the composite. Now, if you look closely, March is where we draw the red line, right? Corona, of course, we went to the lockdown. But if you look closely, before March, arrivals, was okay, but you could see the drop in arrival with that purple line or that purple bar that represents tourist arrival. You could see that getting heavily impacted. It dropped the biggest. Then the second biggest drop, which you will see in May, was industrial consumption of electricity. I think, I don't know whether it's because we did the lockdown that, companies stopped working and manufacturing came to a halt, and therefore you see that electricity consumption went down significantly. But then you come to June, July, electricity consumption went back up. Then you come to September, you can see travel, arrivals at our airports, since we opened the airports. You come to September, you see that also going up. Do you forecast that, because of the December's festivities, that we are going to see that even the travel numbers or the arrivals the tourist arrivals going way up than shown in September? And do you see that construction, the industrial consumption of electricity would also show another boost going forward, and that those two together would lead this recovery? Do you see that as, would you say that is your, yeah?
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
You do realize that when you look at the chart, we suffered a drastic drop in tourism in.
Yeah. I think your this thing went.
Okay. Yeah, it went off. Right. Yeah. So we suffered a drastic drop in April and May, and then
Yeah, I think I lost your sound. One more. Yeah, can you hear me? If you can hear me, or if you can, I can hear you. So go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Tajenfi. Okay, so I think Dr. Tajenfi is having. Yeah, I can hear you. If you can hear me, go ahead.
I'm on mute. I cannot hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. So go ahead. All right. It sounds like. Go ahead, Dr. Tajenfi. I can hear you. So go. Finish what you were saying. Yeah, go ahead. Finish what you were saying. Okay, it appears we're having a sound issue with Dr. Tajenfi. So what I'm going to do is, there was one thing we wanted to talk about today that we couldn't discuss because either we were having, in one form or the other, sound problem or video problem or connection issue. So and that thing which we couldn't talk about today is the courts. What is happening in court? The petition. We know that the petitioner had filed certain amendments to the case to kind of position who the petitioner is asking the relief for a rerun with, because in the original petition, it appears it was stated that the petitioner wanted a rerun of the election between him and the Electoral Commission. So an amendment was filed to the petition itself to correct that. The MPP also, or the respondents, the second respondents, also filed an amendment to his response to the petition. Okay, so then other applications came in, and I was just talking about the other topic that we did not address today, which is the election petition. The fact that there was an amendment to the original petition itself, and the second respondent also amended their response after they found one or two things that were stated in the response in error. Then we also know that another application was filed. We call them interrogatories. First of all, there was an application that there's a public hearing, but we know CI 99 also already have a provision that these cases should be heard and televised. And that decision to televise should be at the discretion of the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court actually invoked that discretion. And so instead of accepting the petition to have accepting a motion to have the case televised, they administratively invoked their discretion to do so. So there was no need for the petition. The petition was thrown out. And then also, we know that another motion was moved, or petition motion was moved to serve interrogatories. In other words, questions. All right, as part of the discovery process, where the counsel is allowed to, in writing, ask the opponents to answer to some questions or admit to certain facts, which Chachu Chikata, representing the petitioner, filed. This was challenged by the second respondent and the first respondent, and the Supreme Court ruled on that. And the ruling was that there was no ground for those interrogatories. That if those questions really mattered to the petitioner, that the petitioner could actually ask them during cross-examination. We also know that we saw that the petitioner disagreed with the ruling and so asked the courts for a review. A review means now the Supreme Court, instead of the 7 panels, will now have 2 additional panels, so there are 9 panel members, and then they together would look at the decision that was undertaken by the court to see if there are matters of law that requires or that would cause the petitioner to suffer an undue harm because of the court's ruling. So the court came back and responded to, or came back and set a date for hearing of that review, or for that review to be the 28th of January. Now, the court, according to the court's calendar, both the petitioner was required to actually file witness statements on the 21st. And so again, the petitioner filed another motion for a stay of proceedings because they were expecting a ruling on the review before the case can proceed. That without the ruling on the review, that they needed those interrogatories to be answered in order for them to put together a witness statement, or to file a witness statement. So that stay would be heard on Tuesday. And also that the court sets the date of 26th for the trial to begin. So many things happening. The trial is going to begin before the ruling on the review is heard. So that actually was the reason the petitioner decided to file a stay of proceedings. So what I've just done is kind of quickly summarize some of what we saw in court over the last weekend, what we're expecting to see. What is your assessment of all this? Do you think this is just a tactics to delay the proceedings as others are claiming, or do you think that's legitimately that the petitioner is being wronged here by the Supreme Court for not accepting or allowing them or granting them the relief or what they prayed for, which is to serve interrogatories on the respondents?
So let me give you let me tell you a little story about writing the exams. When you go into an exam room and you're unprepared, you are always going to be taken on our words, and that's exactly what's happening to the NDC room, NDC team. Nobody is taking advantage of them or being unfair to them. They know very well that CIA 199 has been enacted, which basically states that we have to address election petitions within 42 days. At what point do you realize that you go into challenging an election and not be ready? They have 21 days. They spend all the 21 days gallivanting around the streets of Accra and other parts of the country, propagating something that was unreal. We all know this. Now you go to court to challenge the real element of what you felt was the injustice. And you are unprepared. I mean, do you honestly think that judges have time? They have 42 days to address the issue. If they go contrary to the 42 days, it's the same NDC that is going to
Yeah,
fail.
but what NDC
To challenge them, to challenge them.
according to the NDC,
So if
according to the
they
NDC,
don't,
what they're
if the NDC does not do this, if the Supreme Court does not do this within 42 days, they will challenge the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has to do their job.
right.
They have a mandate. CI 199 has been enacted. They have to follow through. There's nothing wrong. You, like I said, remember the story I told you. If you go into an exam room unprepared, you will always be taken unawares. It appears the NDC is unprepared. I'm not the one to adjudicate that. I'm not the one to really, throw any light on it. It just appears that. Go into a courtroom prepared. That's the whole thing. The judges are doing their job. Let them do their work.
Okay.
You file
So
a petition, follow through.
Right. Okay. So your understanding is they're not prepared, and that is why they are filing all these
That's my whole point.
applications, and the applications getting denied. Okay.
So
So
Chachu, unfortunately, I like Chachu Chata a lot. I think he's an ensued lawyer, but most of his efforts have always been geared towards delaying court processes, trying to find a way to get people to bend. Maybe when he delays, I don't know, maybe he thinks if he delays, somebody will die and they will change their lawyer. I don't even know. Whatever it is, he likes to delay court processes. He did that.
okay.
He was jailed. He is part of the reason why we bought a fast track court. He, just together, is the reason why we bought a fast track court.
Okay. I mean, it's just that the last petition actually took too long, and this time
Exactly.
around.
9 months was not necessary. We
But the 9 months was
disrupted
because,
governance.
yeah, but the 9 months was also because every single application was contested, just like they are doing now, right?
Well,
Because
now we have a legislative instrument that says we have to do it in 42 days. So let's follow through.
yeah, it says we have to do it in 42 days, but it also doesn't say that we should expedite. We should sacrifice justice for expedition, right?
There's
We
no
shouldn't.
sacrificial processes here. Be prepared. You know, listen, you have 6 weeks. You are
Right,
going to court. You know you have 6 weeks to prove your case.
right.
Nigga,
Okay,
ready.
right. Okay, so tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow or Tuesday. Court will resume again, and then there will be a hearing of the stay and application to stay the case, and then decision will be made then whether they stay the case or they actually proceed with the trial. Now, also in CI 99, there's a provision there that if there is a process that the petitioner is supposed to actually comply with, which the petitioner breaches, that it can cause the Supreme Court to then make a decision to either dismiss the case or continue. So we'll see how that plays out because the petitioner, according to the timetable, was expected to deliver their witness or file their witness statements as of last Friday, and that did not happen, which constitutes a breach of procedure. So we'll see how the Supreme Court, rules on all these on Tuesday. I wish that we all stay tuned and watch that, and we will come back next week and actually break down the proceedings from courts. But as of today, that has been the update of the court case, and I hope I had my good friend Paul DeSoso here to give us some take on that, but unfortunately he has to leave early. Mr. Atujemfi, Mr. Erasmus Atajemfi, you've been great. You've stayed along. You've stayed the whole time, and I'm really grateful for that. I wanted to ask if you have any final words or concluding thoughts to my listeners before we bring today's show to an end.
So you saw Dr. Atejefi, you keep messing it up, but
Yes.
I know we've been good friends forever. I think it will take a while for you to get used to the fact that it's still Dr. Atejefi.
Yeah, I call you poison. So.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm glad to come back next time. I think the country is on a great course. and Nanado is going to deliver solidly on his second term. And I think we're going to see some real improvements and some real legacy work that takes place in the second term.
All right. So, listeners, you've been watching myself and Dr. Atojemfi, Paul Dusosu, Fa Amayao, and even Dr. Ofori Edward came to you today and, presented on various topics all the way from COVID. We talked about, the nominees that have been put out by the president to form part of his next government. We evaluated each of those ministerial appointments. We didn't talk about all of them, but we took some key ones and talked about. We've also looked at the meeting that the Monetary Policy Committee will be holding next week. And then we briefly looked at what ensued in court over last week and the expectation for next week when the judges and the petitioners and the respondents would again meet in court where a ruling would be given on the application filed by the petitioner to stay proceedings. When that happens, we'll return here and provide details with panelists who are committed and very knowledgeable on the topics. Today has been great. I've learned so much, and I hope you did the same too. Please join me in saying a big thank you to Dr. Atajemfi and all my panelists. And thanks to all of you for sticking with me and watching this show and coming back every week to watch the Ghana Agenda. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next week. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.